Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go. Here we go now. 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 now. Here we go 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 now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea? We're kicking up the dust, if you know what I mean. We got a good thing going. We got a good thing going on.
Make it clap.
Hello and welcome to PUBG Mobile Club Open Pakistan Region 2021 Fall Split. It is a big thanks to Oppo F19 Pro for, of course, making this all happen. Hashtag Vook Up Your Fun, along with, of course, our official media partners, Nemo.tv. I'm going to be your host, caster, analyst. Bora joining us, of course, is going to be Ankit to take us through the journey. When it comes to the journey itself, well, this is going to be the second last day in the regional finals, and things are going to get heated up when it comes to this Pakistan region teams, because these teams are wanting to dominate, and that's what, Ankit, these teams have been showcasing us.
Indeed it is. I mean, we saw some sort of sheer domination from the sides of UAGxTUF in yesterday's gameplay. With three chicken, they are finals at the top, and not only top, they are cementing their lead. So they are having and writing their own script for their own selves, and then we got to see teams like QWERTY and Freestyles. But I would love to see how far the teams like Grounders and Modified that have been really chiming in those real consistent gameplay, because there's not much of point difference if we got to see the teams between 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, but the real flying with the points is gonna be the UAG Esports.
That is so true, of course, but with that, what is on stake, what is on the line is going to be $29,200, alongside which the team that will be at the end of the entire saga on the top of the leaderboard will, yes, be walking away with $3,600, but along with that, they will also be qualifying for PMPL Season 4, and that, from the looks of it, is certainly going to be a Herculean task for so many of these teams to overcome, because the way i8 just completely dominated yesterday, it was a complete different affair that we saw from that team, and unexpected but a wonderful turn of events that that team showcased, and that is where they got those points, and not only the points in the placement but also the kill department. I mean, that team was just obliterating the lobby one game after the other.
Indeed, it was something the case. They were actually putting strong at this moment, and think of the point structure that will be helping them cement their more and more lead. And talking about lead, I mean, Team QWERTY really need all these points. With 54 points, they are still on the second half of the chart. They really had a good chance to make an entry, because there is a big void in terms of the space that they can actually make it. And I'll really have my eyes set on, especially on Team QWERTY.
Most certainly, that's going to be so true. Of course, till now, when it comes down to the entire moment and games that have been showcased in the group stages as well, it was Clarity Esports that people were looking on to, because the team has been so destructive and absolutely always do end up utilizing those opportunities. But yesterday's i8 gameplay has taken over the lead against the Clarity Esports' gameplay, and of course that lead is created in terms of the points itself. For today, we shall have to see if Clarity will be able to climb back up the ladder or not. In all of this, we did see Quraysh Esports try and fight their way out of those fights, along with Freestyle trying their level best to work on, if not towards the kill, but certainly the placement points.
Definitely, I mean, certain teams do rely upon the kill points and certain teams do rely upon placement points. Some teams work on both, and that's the reason some teams are there at the top. But talking about the top, I mean, we really have all the top 4 actions back to back that will be going on. Talk about the Erangel, Miramar, Sanhok and Erangel, 4 back to back matches, opportunities, whatever you call. For me, it seems that teams will be looking to add all these 4 maps as an opportunity, and especially the teams like 52 Rage that is still on the 16th position. The team that finished second in the semi-finals, their tides have certainly turned ugly.
That is true. That is so very true, of course, because 52X Rage find themselves at the bottom of the entire leaderboard. Not the way that this was expected from this team, but let's move on to the overall ranking and showcase what the journey has been thus far. Of course, we have been mentioning i8 Esports. This team has gotten 3 chicken dinners. 134 points is what they've been able to accumulate. A massive play that is what this team has been able to showcase against the likes of course, Clarity Esports, and then followed in is going to be Freestyle. And as we were just discussing, when it comes down to the kill department, Freestyle have only 27, but it is the consistency in terms of the placement points that have gotten them all the way to the top 3. So looking really good, and today hopefully the same sort of a gameplay will be working for them.
No chicken for Freestyle, no chicken for Modified indeed, and if they work in tandem, I mean, they must be looking to get at least 1, because without any chicken they're still at the top. And also for Clarity Esports, so 3 teams back to back, no chicken, but still at the top. Talk about the kill number what Clarity Esports have been securing. That is just massive. Mammoth number of kills. They have been able to secure a total of 55 out of a total 97 total points, clearly showcasing their dominance in terms of their gun gameplay. And we have seen in the past, especially from this team, Clarity Esports team Bablu. And then we got to see on the second half of the chart, some teams are really not looking good. Talk about 52 Rage. They have certainly 19 kills. Just justifies the performance that they have emulated in the past. But somewhere down the line, 8 matches, 7 placement points, not even 1 in match in terms of placement points. That means the team has been getting eliminated in the early stage itself, not getting and finding themselves in that 8 to 12 position itself.
That is so true. That is so true, and that is something that this team will have to start utilizing the opportunity from today itself, because only 8 games are remaining. 4 games today, and then of course 4 final games tomorrow, and that is the only opportunity that these teams are given to. With that, let's move on to the head-to-head form between these 2 teams that are going to be TUF and it is going to be UNB. And when it comes to both these teams, yes, they've been able to accumulate chicken dinners for themselves. When it comes to their placement itself, it is going to be so very close indeed, because well, there's not a lot of point difference between the 2, but when it comes to the overall standing, they do find themselves in the top 8. But today we shall have to see if it will be UAGxTUF that will be able to solidify their lead and push on forth, or will it be UNB No Fear to bring back the kind of glory that they had showcased earlier?
Need to watch out for all these teams, because UAGxTUF, this was a team that got the first chicken of the day of yesterday's game itself in the game of Erangel. So I'll have my eye set upon and also my bet onto this team whenever they go in the game of Erangel. They will be watching there and setting their eyes up onto that chicken in the game of Erangel. But for the moment, the team to watch out for will also be one thing that will have our look and eye set upon as this team, especially man, Freestyle. This has been their comeback story, because it was not easy task for them in yesterday's gameplay itself. The first game of Erangel, they found themselves himself at the second position, and then it was against Sanhok. So it was not a back-to-back, but still two finished, resulting at least 24 total points, and that held the course of all the tier 4 players. Talk about Malik, Black, Gardari, Gully Boy, everyone was looking so phenomenally well. But in doing so way down the line, it was Malik that had that survivability skills, and also along with that Gully Boy. Gully Boy is lacking in terms of kill. It's just a 1.5. He needs to actually rack up more and more in terms of what he is securing. But he just has played the 4 matches.
Exactly, and when it comes to the play itself, as you so perfectly mentioned, we did see Malik from the side of Freestyle again and again, just keeping himself alive, even if it's just him remaining from the entirety of his team. Just a one-man squad is what we saw Malik twice or thrice in the opportunities, and still would climb up and be all the way into the top 3 in the zone itself, and that is something that has certainly worked in terms of the placement points that Freestyle has always worked towards. But now, when it comes to the storyboard itself, as we just discussed, today is the second last day. That means 8 total games that are remaining for all of these teams, all 16 teams, and in that there is quite a lot of tough situations that are being created on the first page itself between the top 2 itself. When it comes down to QWERTY Esports going up against the side of I8Esports, there is going to be a huge undertaking for QWERTY Esports, especially because if they are not able to move themselves along, it will be I8 that will push on to create that massive lead into the numbers advantage, and that is not the gameplay that we anticipate from QWERTY Esports. But I mean, I'm bringing it up as if I8 Esports is definitely going to be playing that strong sort of a gameplay. Yes, yesterday they did, but today we shall have to see if that same sort of a play style will be able to favor them in this lobby or not.
That is going to be the question. The big question of the hour. I mean, I8 Esports, they really had a fantastic gameplay yesterday, but since now it's the penultimate day, every team will be going with everything that they have in their tank. All the gases are filled. They'll just be putting their foot on the pedestal, and the 5th gear is still on. Talking about the pedestal and the gear, it is going to be an opportunity for Freestyle to climb up, because above them it is just 2 teams. One that is close towards them, that is going to be QWERTY with just the 16 points, and the lead that can be catered with the sort of gunpowder and the survivability tactics that Freestyles has. They really have a good chance. A total of 54 points out of the 81. That shows the team knows how to go towards that second half, last of the zone, or the last zone itself. We saw in the game of Sanhok and Erangel, some players were going down the line, but somewhere down the line, I mean, they really lagged in terms of the 4-man advantage, and then they did falter down. But it seems enough of us are being done, as we are heading towards the first game of Erangel, and this is going to be the first game of this 3rd day of regional finals, and sooner or later we'll get to see what is going to be the flight path, and that will certainly seal the fate of every team in this lobby as we move down towards the area, a southern dominated flight path. That means those who love towards to go into the northern area, they will have to face a challenge. No more up noise, so Snowmo community race is under the glide. Milta, Farm, Pachinki, no problem whatsoever with the case, but teams love to go towards the area of Northern Georgiapur, Hospital, I mean Ruin, School, Rozok, still under the glide, but they really need to pull off some real big airborne time.
They most certainly will have to, and as the flight path is being guided across this entire map, we are looking at the grounders taken off away from the map. We have, of course, NFBX Sky also moving on along with FS. That is going to be the team that we were just talking about, a team that we do want to be able to see bring up that sort of a gameplay in terms of the kill department as well. But today is the day that these teams are going to have to just showcase a different gameplay altogether. If not, the opportunity is going to be stolen away from them. Another team that I would want to bring up is going to be Team QWERTY. A team that we do anticipate to play some really wonderfully set up plays and games, but of course when it comes down to the gameplay itself, it has been a little lacking. They are slowly picking up the slack. Yesterday they did find themselves on the 9th position as they moved on across to get the kills confirmed for themselves, but that is not going to be it. They are going to have to bring in that much more of a synergy today, because today being the second last day, well, when it comes to the opportunities, as we did just say, if today these teams are not able to make that sort of an opportunity for themselves by the end, then it is going to be a bit too late, especially for the teams that find themselves on the second page of the leaderboard. And right here, North Esports trying to be a little cheeky right here. I mean, he's trying his level to get Zyro from the side of Star, but it seems that will not be the case for now, as Star's player will be able to glide across and get himself to the comfort on the other front. Talking about NES, this team is dropped down towards the school apartments itself and are going to be, of course, getting themselves acclimated with a decent amount of loot, which is going to be working for this team for now.
He got that 4x. Just imagine that 4x he would have got on the terrace rather than finding himself on the 3rd floor. things could have really turned ugly, and that could have been the first aerial knock in this Club Open Pakistan region itself. And that would have been so lovely, so mesmeric to watch, and for us itself, but certainly that would have been the demise of the Stars player, but certainly no casualty whatsoever, as now the teams are moving toward the same area. But Star knows that there is one team in the same vicinity, and they won't do this mistake to come under the same vicinity until unless they are just pressed, or rather with an intent to take up the fight, not being the surprise factor for itself. But for the moment, the circle has just made a shift onto that. The circle has actually formed, not made a shift, because they're the first circle. So onto the western side, we get to see when teams are aligning with the NFP onto that same split with that we got to see. Now this is one certain sort of a different stat that we're getting to see. FS before this game, I mean in yesterday's and day before yesterday's gameplay, they did had split, but that split resulted themselves finding closer to where Modified were. That means they have made some sort of different adjustments, and in yesterday's gameplay itself, we saw those two Erangels, and in one game they find themselves in a closer vicinity where Modified were going up against Freestyles. So some sort of maneuvering, some sort of calibration is being certainly done, and this is one good thing, that the players are reading and are just being flexible enough to move along with their strats, even in the finals itself.
Absolutely, and as the game progresses on along, talking about the military base, we do have two teams there. That's going to be the side of Novorupnoy Team Ivy, and on the military itself, we do have Team I8, who do love to go down towards the military base, as we've seen them do so again and again, and they do get themselves acclimatized, because as of now, there is absolutely no team contesting that region away from them. On the other front, when you talk about teams that we can anticipate a little bit of a skirmish between, we do have the sides of course, Clarity, who have jumped up towards the North Giorgio, and when they try and get their rotation made from that region, that is when things can get a little tricky for them, because they might just find themselves going up in terms of that rotation, going up against the players of UAG. But for now, of course, there's just the early few minutes itself, and Team QWERTY seems like are the ones who are trying to take on a little bit of fight for themselves, and it is not looking like a knock will be confirmed for now. Team Quraysh also doing it in the same sort of a start, and it is looking pretty neat for both those teams, because they are also pretty close from the looks of it towards the prison area.
Since you mentioned the name of Quraysh, I really want to talk more about this Quraysh Esports team. Yesterday's gameplay itself, the team was looking pretty much phenomenal in terms of the gun gameplay that we're taking, but somewhere down the line, they were missing those, those coordination that is really required to at least pin down one squad, because, you can bring 1 to 2 knock, and then there is going to be the third player from your opponent's side, and that will be taking you down. And in that situation, you really need something extra to bring the entire squad down. And somewhere down the line, Quraysh Esports did lag. They really made some of the good pushes. If we talk about the games of Erangel and Miramar, they were looking phenomenally good, and that resulted themselves getting a lot of points, but still not enough that they must be finding themselves in the top 5 or top 6. But I'm sure that today they must be having something in their back to offer to us.
Most certainly has to be, because yes, this team, again, talking about Quraysh, that is a team that certainly will be bringing in that sort of a play. But along with that, when it comes to Team QWERTY, another wonderful turn of events for this team hopefully will be showcased today is that synergistic play that we've showcased, or rather seen from them earlier in different tournaments, is hopefully bringing them the play that is required off of them, because, well, the fans expect it, we expect it, but Team QWERTY, are they going to be able to deliver? Because the teams that are in this entire map, there are so many ferocious teams. We've got Team Sky on our screens right now, and NFBX Sky, another wonderful team where the likes of Khatir and all are so very skilled. They have been part of so many individual tournaments. They've been working together and playing together for such a long time that the synergy that has been created between Team Sky's players are so on point, and that is what it is going to be when it comes down to the spray. An absolute precise control from the Scarrel from Halsey, and the first blood brought on towards the side of Team Sky as FS's rotation has been caught off guard, and Freestyle have been brought down to a 3-man squad.
They ejected from a plane with a different sort of split, and I was really happy, but certainly not happy with the strats that they are finding themselves into, because they should have known by this time that it is NFP Sky that really jumped towards the area of Feripur in a big split, and this is the area of closer to the area of QWERTY, where there's still a lot of impediments to make way through, and that one knock, this is not looking good, and still they are being hounded by a lot of bullets. Torrent is just trying to dodge away everything that is coming in from 4 players from the sides of NFP, and they are just waiting and just hoping that we might get secured 1 kill, but it seems that now the distance is pretty much in order to take the fight. NFP on a different tangent. They really had a one good start, but Freestyles, Black, the one that really has that skill to survive till the last, has been taken away from this match.
Well, for now, that is not the play that was anticipated from Freestyle as they made that rotation, but of course that is what happens whenever, you're making that rotation. There is always a chance of you being caught off guard, and that is exactly what has happened with Freestyle. And nonetheless, this team, of course, will still be able to find themselves in the final moments of the game, because that is what this team has been showcasing us in the previous games that they have been a part of in this perfect regional finals for this Freestyle team. Malik and of course his teammates are going to be getting themselves just rotating still. They are going to be getting themselves into a position, and of course when they do so, they are going to be playing a passive approach, is what we've seen from this team so many times, and that works. That works as long as you are able to participate and get the points, either in terms of the kill or the placement itself. As long as you get the points, you are doing things right and are in control, and that is what Freestyle has been showcasing consistently. But if they want to be able to topple over the chart and move on along towards that second position, then the kill department certainly needs to be progressed on fourth, as well as they've only got 27 kills in total with all the games that they have played.
One good thing for Freestyles, as you just mentioned, all the three players have those different vehicles that they really can help with those motioning things and those locomotion. But for the moment, it is going to be again modified on our TV screens, as now they find themselves in a closer vicinity where NFP Sky is present. But this time there was no contestation between Freestyles modified, rather it was one demise from the sides of Freestyles in the name of Malik. But as soon as the circle went for a shift, these sort of circle tends to go either onto the bridge or onto the extreme western side of military base, and in that it seemed that I8 has realized the situation and they are now falling back into their own home.
Well, I8 are not going to be happy. They are going to have to come back, exactly, because they made that rotation. As soon as they did, the circle just made a shift and found that I8 would have been better situated had they never even crossed that bridge, and that's exactly what they've decided to redo and come back along. And as they do, it seems like a bridge camp is going to be kept from the side of I8, and on the other front we did see Ivy making a rotation as well from the Roanoke region, and if they are planning on going down towards that base, or rather towards that bridge, that is where I8 can catch them in the tracks. On the other front, team QWERTY also trying to make that rotation, but as they do, they find themselves in the close proximity of UNBxSports. But for now, of course, the shots are not going to get connected, and team QWERTY is going to be able to get themselves away from the situation. On the other front, it is going to be team Sky, who are now in a little bit of a tricky situation where Halsey, the dude who was able to get the first blood for the team as well as the entire game, has been caught, and it is going to be none other than Clarity who have caught NFP Sky.
NFP Sky now going down. The players from the sides of Clarity are now retaliating, and all of a sudden it seems that now they're in a commotion and a complete sort of turmoil can be created into the area of Ferryparas. We're now getting to see three teams on the backhand side. Not to forget, it is the team of Freestyle, if I'm not wrong. They are coming close slowly and steadily, and yes, it is Freestyle that are finding themselves into the shoreline areas, pretty much away from these two fights, from this fight that is erupting between Clarity and NFP Sky, and still they are present in the same vicinity. Can we get to see another head-on-head fight between NFP Sky, and obviously that is going to be Qwerty Esports? All these teams needs a point, but in that it is going to be NFP Sky that have really saw their dent on the total number of point system that they have been getting to see. Downward leap, what they have seen in yesterday's gameplay itself, because the regional finals on the day of start, Day 1 was certainly in their favor, but yesterday's gameplay, they were certainly not looking good. But it seems that now Qwerty Esports knows that there is some other team that has found themselves as a shelter near the shoreline areas, and Bablu 420 boy is the one that is just trying to spot him down.
Well, Qwerty certainly are in control of a lot of this compound, and then of course the information of their opponents as well. But in all of this, they've lost one of their players. That's going to be Pika. So a three-man squad is what Qwerty is at, and that is exactly what Freestyle is going to be bringing into the table as well. On the other front, talking about NFP Sky, they have all four members still alive, but talking about the fights, this is where the fights are going to have to be brought on, and it seems that finally it is Qwerty Esports who are probably also going to be chiming in along. As of now, there are no clear shots available for the side, and it is going to be NFP Sky Kevian who is going to be caught off guard out in the open as he tried to get into a little bit of a flank angle to take the fight, but it seems like that was none other than Freestyle's player who were able to catch him in the track. And as they did, it is now going to be, well, if Freestyle try and bring in the aggressive stance, then it could very well be a situation for Qwerty to be got into a little bit of a middle because the sandwich situation is where Clarity is at for now, but the compound is the only safety that this team is going to be able to apply for their position. We are 12.5 minutes in, and the zone is going to move away from all three of these teams. 520 meters is what the distance is that these teams are going to have to cover now.
UNB in a commanding position, I8 in a commanding position, ZARAR in a commanding position, and IV have done some real sort of good rotation coming in from different directions. They were in the area of Novorupnaya, and then they went completely onto the eastern half of Retrievers, and now they have to retrace their own path. But the question still remains. Teams like QWERTY Esports, FS, NFP, UAG, multiple teams, 5 to 6 teams are onto that main island, and they have to make a move. And Clarity Bablu really have a very good chance. Not only Bablu, he will be calling all the 4 players from his side to take more and more number of kills. But Tyrant knows that there is one team, as soon as they will be making a move onto this pedestal, they will be ready to take up the fight. And it seems that now Tyrant has got all those shots, but still not one bullet that has been connected onto him.
Well, Wolf is certainly in control. He should have been that much more in control when FS Malik was still on the pier and was making that jump into the water itself. But for now, it is going to be FS's players who are going to be in the water and will be caught. But again, when it comes down to Clarity Esports, they have the information, but they do not have the comfort of the zone itself. They can try and take a little bit of the fight and a few shots, but of course, they are going to have to move away because the circle is going to be the priority, and that is exactly what Clarity Esports is going to be working towards. Same, of course, can be said and spoken about for the side of NFBxSky as well. But have they already decided to make that rotation? Not entirely sure. On the other front, talking about FS, they're going to be making that water rotation. That is an interesting play that they are planning on. But it seems like Ivy is ready and prepped and ready to absolutely pencil down the rotation coming in from the side of FS. But all of that spray from the side of KSF has resulted in absolutely nothing because both the players were absolutely fine and have been able to get themselves away from the position and will be able to just slowly and steadily swim into the comfort of the zone.
The spray went in vain, and resulting that the position has also been revealed from the sides of IB, and it seems that FS won't be doing any sort of mistakes in order to get themselves exposed to the crosshair of the opponent teams. But for the moment, NFBxSky, it seems that now they're trying to make a move from different directions. It is going to be Novorupnaya bridge by the looks of it. Maybe it seems that they are trying to make a move, as now they're still finding themselves, but no, they are still in the same position. They're still into that same area, and Novorupnaya is the way forward for them. We have to still wait for that, how they are going to be approaching towards all these fights, because they still have 4 men alive. They have the gunpowder, they have the firepower, and it's just a moment that they need to strategize well. If they do so, this will be one good game for them too.
This most certainly can be the case. And again, when you talk about the play itself that has been showcased right here from the side of these teams, it is looking pretty neat is what I would say. From Team NFBxSky, they have been able to get themselves in the zone itself, and as they do so, they are now going to have to be careful because there are so many teams in the vicinity, and as NFBxSky try and get up top onto this ridge itself, the zone is going to move away. And what a jump! What a phenomenal jump that was from the buggy itself, and what a play that was created from the side of NFBxSky to get on top of that compound's roof basically, and that is going to be giving them the edge and the information, of course. But on the other front, talk about I8, a team that yesterday did dominate, but today, as they did get the circle working in their favor, have been able to finally bring in the kills for themselves, and it is going to be none other than Quraysh Esports who find themselves against the players of I8, and it is going to be Crypto who is going to try and decimate the rotation coming in from Quraysh Esports. 2 of the players were in the water, and of course now right next to the bridge, under the bridge, of course, they have been confirmed dead, and it is going to be 2 kills to this team. But Crypto, as he got the information of the rotation coming in from the side of Quraysh, he was able to absolutely try and pincer down, and that was Mani who was brought on down. But Bilal is still alive and will be able to give that revival. So that remains that Quraysh will be able to get the 2-man squad moving on along to get the placement points. But again, when it comes to the play zone is not going to be in their favor, and the grounders have been caught in the blues, and they will be eliminated.
52 Rage are raging at this moment, as now they're trying to retaliate onto the players of NFBxSky, but NFB in retaliatory fire, they are taking them down as Kian makes a big hit onto the players, but Sky is really making it tough for other players, as UAGxTUF are also on the verge of getting eliminated as Avenger goes down. Halsey is bleeding out slowly and steadily, but NFBxSky, they really had that flank angle covered down. They had that small little church onto that left hand side where the bridge actually ends and connects the main island from Novorupnaya one military base side. But as soon as the players will be making a move forward, it is going to be Hilsey that will be finished off. And Hilsey, it seems that it's not day to day in the first game itself, because a knock itself in the very early stage of the game, and in all these fights he was also the one that sadly got eliminated. But on a different tangent now, I8 are trying to pin down the players from the sides of QWERTY, and not only QWERTY, they are finding themselves onto this end part of this Novorupnoy bridge, and all of a sudden QWERTY Esports, their future looks pretty bleak. Pretty bleak. Dani is the one player surviving. For how long, that is going to be the question. As soon as the smoke dissipates, he will be the one exposing himself in the crosshair of Blade's all three players. If there is Refuse, there is Crypto, there is Blade, and they won't be sparing him. PlayZone is taking care of multiple teams on a different tangent. Fast goes down thanks to the onslaught that is coming in from the sides of Modified. But Modified's end was also sure. That was also sure, and he goes down.
What a game this is turning out to be. I mean, Clarify Esports, they were looking on to getting some points, but it is going to be Dani who is left just bandaging himself with the 3 first aids that he's been able to collect. But that is pretty much it. On the other front, when you talk about the fights within the zone itself, we've got ZARAR Esports right here taking on the players of UNB, and UNB on the other hand have been able to absolutely pinch it on the players of the opponent team, that is going to be ZARAR. Now right here, 2 of his teammates are looking for a revival, but it is not looking easy, because when it comes down to Deadshot, he is going to have to just completely dominate against the players of ZARAR. And what a fray, but it was Coronas who is still around the corner in the different hut altogether, will be able to get him down, and that is how ZARAR will be able to confirm 3 kills for themselves, and they are a 2-man army. But as they do, they themselves have been third-partied, and it is going to be all thanks to Team QWERTY.
QWERTY into the fight. There we go. They are looking strong at this moment, and also looking pretty much promising in terms of the kill that they are racking up for the moment. And Dani on a run, just run as fast as you can. He's having the support of Buggy, but as soon as he makes a move into the zone, it seems that he will be gifting away 1 point, 1 kill point. If that happens, it will be a sad demise for himself. But this is a courageous player. He knows how to actually strategize the game, and it seems that he is not, I mean, Team Star is not aware of the exact positioning that some teams have come in from the backhand side. As soon as that happens, he will be really surviving on the mercy of Team Star. But Circle has made a shift, and it seems that it is going to be Ivy that is having complete control on the western side, but they need to make sure there is big one team that looks too ruthless. That is going to be I8.
Absolutely. And talking about the mini-map, we do have Team QWERTY in a very wonderful position for themselves towards the northwestern front of this circle, or 5th circle. And when you talk about I8, they are finding themselves towards the southeastern front of the circle, and this is going to be the dominating play that we are anticipating from I8. Will they be allowed to do that exact sort of domination that they did so yesterday? They are on that exact same roll. They've already got 5 kills confirmed for themselves, and as we move on along into the 21st minute marker, UAGxTUF has been eliminated. 9 teams remain. We have Team Star with all 4 players, 2 kills confirmed for themselves. 2 points is what this team has been able to collect for themselves for now. Will that be enough? As they get into the zone, this is where things are going to get heated up for them, because now it is going to be right across that area. I believe IV that can very well pencil them down, but Portal Esports is also in the vicinity, and if PES pushes on along, this is going to be a tricky affair for these teams, because they are so very close, and third parties is what is going to be anticipated in all of these fights.
That can be the case, and in doing so, it is going to be Freestyle that has been eliminated in 9th position with just 1 kill point, and that was an end to them. But Mr. Dr. Dead from the sides of Ivy is pretty much close to where Portal Esports have taken shelter off, with Paddy onto different direction looking. It is going to be Zameen that has gone down. Reviews from now the sides of I8 is making a big blow and a big dent onto the players of Modified, as they were trying to pull down the players of I8, but the retaliatory fire has come in at the right point at the right time, and it seems that also North Esports are stuck in that situation. But for the moment, every team is on the edge of the circle. As soon as the circle will make for a 6th shift, it is going to be an important factor where the circle will be shifting, which team will be getting the benefit of it, or rather the circle will be completely going in the open onto the northeastern side, where no team still prevails. But it is going to be Ivy Esports that is really having an influential gameplay till now. Just the 1 kill, not pretty much the same way that we have seen in the past, but till now all the 3 players are surviving, and they really can have those important placement points. But Blade takes down Loser, as now they are trying to pin down the players of Team Star. And Team Star, you better be prepared, or it is going to be the hungry I8 looking up to charge on you.
Absolutely. They are just going to be steamrolling across this team if they are given the opportunity to do so, and that is exactly what they are trying their level best for. On the other front, it is going to be PES's Momtu, who has been able to push alongside the perfect ridge control that Ivy were favoring for themselves, but now the nade parade that they've been able to showcase has resulted in Ivy being brought on down and slaughtered down thanks to Portal Esports' perfectly set up spray and control. It is going to be the demise of Ivy right there, and Portal Esports, all 4 players are going to be able to just completely take control of this ridge, but not for long because the zone has moved away from them, and these teams now are going to have to push on. We've got 5 teams remaining, 23 minutes in, and Team QWERTY from the front has been absolutely perfect. They have been so very much in control of the zone. Eventually, again, the game also moved on to favor them, as from one more zone to the next, it was certainly favoring Team QWERTY and has certainly resulted in them being in a better part of this entire saga. But will it be enough? Because I8 players are still here with 9 kills that they've been able to confirm. A GG play is what I8 is showcasing, and there certainly does not seem to be a team that is able to stop them in their track for now.
Voltrix on a move. He is on a move, looking to take down the players. Esports were on a run unless they were just being paralyzed thanks to the onslaught that is coming in from sides of Team QWERTY. They really need all these points, and in doing so, it is going to be Team Star that has been eliminated. The onslaught, the slaughterhouse machine from I8 has resulted themselves getting thrown away, and now it is Baby that is really making it tough for Khan to survive. He's knocked down. Voltrix goes down. All of a sudden, Team QWERTY has got a lot of attention from both these teams, but Portal Esports, all of a sudden, all the 4 players are surviving and they are finding themselves in center lines of the circle. Not exactly center, but still, I8 is just not able to spot him down. Now Crypto knows that it is going to be Portal Esports that was making a lot of sounds, but in all these situations, Team QWERTY that has come a long way from the area of Lipovka to the western front of this military base. That has been a long journey, and it seems that long journey might end soon, as now the 2 player has been thrown away from this lobby. But now Crypto has been pulled down, as now Momtu starts retaliating. Portal Esports in all this situation are covering and just moving around a bit in this circle. Is that 2 pretty much strong at this moment, as now the zone tends to go towards some different direction. That is just going to be some a moment here and there, and then we'll get to see which part of the circle, which sort of team is going to be getting the favor of it.
Well, what a play, what a play. Portal still have all 4 players alive. It is going to be NES who have been hunkering down players as they try and get those kills for themselves. Have not really been able to get too many kills for themselves for the side of Esports, but Portal Esports is still part of this entire fight, and they have 7 kills confirmed for themselves. As we move on along, I8 have also 2 players remaining. That's going to be Blade and Reviews. So with this, 4 teams that are remaining, it moves down towards Esports, who are going to have to move on 60 meters in front of them, and that is where the zone is going to be pushing them. And as they do so, it is not going to be an easy task, because I8 is ready right there with 30 meters in front is what they need to go out in the open. This is not looking good. This is not looking easy for any of these teams, because it is a completely open circle. But thankfully, when it comes to I8, they have the vehicle itself, and the vehicle cover is going to be favoring them. But for how long? Because as we can clearly see, it is 30 meters that they need to absolutely travel, and with that, it is Wolverine from the side of Team QWERTY trying his level best to remain alive, and PES also bringing in some perfectly set up sprays. In that, they have been knocked. Momtu has been knocked, Nocto has been knocked, but the revival will most certainly be given, because the teammates are already across them and will be making sure that all 4 players push on into the zone. And this is not going to be an easy fight or easy rotation, because this is the 7th zone. That means the blues are going to be giving you quite a lot of damage, but it seems like both Esports are in control, as they are going to be utilizing those vehicles to get themselves in the favor of the zone itself. And as they do so, I8 is prepped and ready with the nade parade that has been showcased from the side of Blade. If this is going to be on point, there will be a lot of damage that Portal Esports can anticipate, but the nade is going to be a little far off. But not Esports, what a flank angle that Daku finds himself in, and as he does so, he will be able to give a lot of damage to Portal Esports as soon as the car bursts. But before that happens, the retaliation will be brought on from that side, and it will be eventual demise for Daku.
Insane is the one that is really taking the charge, and he really saved off as soon as Ghost finds himself on his feet, just trying to make a move into the zone. He will also be thrown to the lobby, as now the lead gets connected onto his chest and onto his head, thus resulting his elimination. And finally, we are down to 2 teams where 5 players are still alive. 3 from the sides of Portal Esports, and this has been a long journey. 3 kill each for Baby, Momtu and Insane, and Nocto is the one that is really lacking in terms of those kills. Will this be a time where Nocto will be making sure that he also gets a 3 kill? If it does, it will be an elimination for I8, and thus resulting Portal Esports getting 1 chicken. But all these things, before that happens, it is going to be a one big challenge that they need to face, because it's already 11 kill with which i8 is going into this last circle. 4 into the name of Blade, and they are just not stopping. They're trying to take advantage of any sort of situation. Momto still surviving. Grenades are being used. Momto is on a run as they now try to make a move into the circle. The circle has certainly gone away from this brown team, and that is obviously going to be Portal Esports. And the yellow little marker that is looking to get to see in all these fights, that is going to be i8. They are getting the favor of the zone. Reviews is on a charge, and Blade, as soon as Reviews get any shot, it is going to be him that will be giving the cover fire, and in that it is going to be Insane's move that has to be pretty much insane in order to get him down. But will he be spotted down? He will be spotted down, as now it is going to be up to Nocto, and obviously the last player surviving to take the players down. Momto is still alive. Nocto, sliver of an HP, is still surviving. Blade is on a charge, and it seems that the chicken is going to go with the happens. It seems that I really spoke too soon, as it is going to be 1v1 affair. Reviews on a charge. Momto does it for Portal Esports. That's the last player for the sides of i8 was taken down. What a game for Portal Esports. They were in the middle of the zone. They were getting a lot of shots, but those important vehicles, talk about those workies. There were 4 important vehicles that they really took shelter about. And from that, getting 12 important kills, 1534 damage, a total of 27 points. Overall rank is where they must be finding themselves at the 12th position. And this is a comeback that we were waiting for. Portal Esports are really going in.
They have played it to absolute perfection. They were not looking too good in those moments, in those fights, but the only thing, the most important thing that worked out for PES is the fact that they had all 4 players alive, and they focused on that. There were moments when, of course, the players were being knocked, and they still focused on getting those revivals, and that was the crucial thing. That was the game-changing moment where Portal Esports dominated and were able to confirm the game for themselves. An incredible turn of events for the side. But i8, I mean, that team, wow, what a play that team is bringing. From yesterday's plays to the way they've started the day today, it seems like there is going to be no stopping the team of i8. And Clarity Esports, well, they were caught in terms of the circle also. This was a really tricky circle to try and maneuver into, because the zone was not favoring so many of these teams. But yes, QWERTY was there. QWERTY, I think, should have done better, but they tried to play their cards right. With that, let's move on to the most valuable player coming in from this game.
And that is certainly going to be of Reviews. No second doubt about that. From the sides of i8, 1096 damage. He was the last guy alive from the sides of i8. Really tried hard, but it was just too much and enough from the sides of Momto from Portal Esports that really took down, and it was an important knock that really had it going down. But before that, it was 4 assists, 115 healing done, and that find himself as Reviews got that important knocks in these early favors. We talk about Blade, we talk about Crypto, everyone was just looking fantastically well, but it was then Reviews that really had that startling performance going in. 3 kill and 1109 damage. I mean, this can be complete stats of a team. In terms of kill, he really lagged, but the damage was certainly the one thing, and also the average survival time, because he was holding his ground well. He was making sure that if team is going to win, I am going to be the one that will be really contributing to the most of it. And then we got to see Crypto at the second position of this overall ranking, where the top players were 5 kills, 715 damage, and then we got to see Blade. So a lot of i8 players. It was just the last moment where Portal Esports Momto and Insane charge in, and you really need to think about, I mean, that's the crux situation. If you try to take that situation into your favor, it's your game, and that Portal Esports did.
They most certainly did, and they did it to perfection to take that chicken dinner away from i8. And honestly, thank God that they did. Had they not been able to do that, then it would have been a complete domination and annihilation that i8 would have showcased to the lobby, because yesterday they got 3 back-to-back chicken dinners, and today if they would have started with that sort of a steamroll in performance, it could have been a complete game changer. But again, that is not to say that they still cannot do so. They were so very close. They've got 12 kills, same exact as Portal Esports, but it is of course the 3-point difference thanks to the chicken dinner favoring Portal Esports for now. But i8 also walking away with 24 points are going to be creating that much more of a lead in terms of the way the overall ranking is going to be showcasing. On the other front, North Esports also find themselves on that 3rd spot with 13 points. But here we go, Team QWERTY with 2 kills, but the 8 placement points, giving them 10 in total, is certainly going to be helping their cause and maybe even helping them to move up into the 8th position. We shall see if in the overall ranking this start will favor Team QWERTY or not.
Indeed, it is gonna be for Team QWERTY, but the Portal Esports really had a very good game. 12 kills, 15 placement points. For a moment, I thought that kill number might just look too bleak and just too less in terms of what they were able to secure, but this was not the case. 12 kills, 15 placement points makes a total of huge amount of chunk of points that they were able to take. But certainly 52 Rage Esports, I don't understand what has just happened to these guys. They were trying to take the fight against NFP Sky Esports, and they did take down at least one player, and that resulted them getting one kill. But then it was just 52 Rage Esports getting down, and the grounders are also just getting grounded in terms of their approach. Tough also faltering down, Freestyles also faltering down. So a lot of team in that 3, 4, 5, 6 of the chart of the overall ranking have also faltered on. But certainly a game that was really required for Portal Esports. They made it. They
have made it. They certainly have made it. But of course, I8 were also part of that entire saga where they were just taking on so many kills. And that was not the only team. So many other teams were part of the kill department, as we can clearly see on the second page of the leaderboard as well, all the way till the 15th holding team. And that is where we can bring up the Oppo F19 Pro moments to bring up the kills. That is where we can recap through all of these wonderful fights that these teams took, where it was Team Sky who was bringing in that first onslaught, and from there we moved on along to just bring in so many wonderful plays that was being showcased, from these rotations to bridge camp situations to absolutely pincering down the opponents from one team to the next.
Yeah, indeed. UNB, I mean, they were really on a charge. It was just the Deadshot that really tried to take the 1v1 player down. Bonga went down, but Cronus was just waiting as soon as he just exposed. Deadshot was really quick with his reflexes, but not enough to take the player down, and ZARAR Esports really emerged victorious against UNB. And then we got to see the fight that really erupted on the western side of the military base island, where it was an important move for Portal Esports. This was the move with the help of all those vehicles. They tried to bring them down, and as soon as North Esports' last player was taken care of, that was Ghosta. Thanks to the knockout that came in from the side of Inside, it was an all easy task for them. Not easy, because Reviews was trying to bring up the knock to survive a sliver of an HP, and Mom2 was the one guy that really took one player down, and then it was 1v1 affair. AKM really had those recoils going not into his favor, and thus resulting Portal Esports a chicken. Moving on all along, we have the total damage, that's histogram list, where we get to see I8 getting a total of 2639 damage, a massive number. When the kill number is shared equally between Portal Esports and I8, but damage is certainly way more in terms of what I8 were able to secure.
Oh yes. Oh, what a play. What a play. I mean, 2639 damage with the 12 kills. Amazing turn of events. But as the game progressed on along, it was of course another play that was showcased. But this is where Team QWERTY do find themselves on the 8th spot along with North Esports with the exact same points. That is going to be 64. So now when it comes down to all the way till the 5th position itself, Team QWERTY is very much doable. There is not a lot of difference between them. But will they be allowed to? On the other front, I8 are creating a massive lead of 58 points against the second position holder. That is going to be Clarity Esports.
Exactly, I mean, Clarity is still there at the positioning points, but certainly I8 Esports are flying away. 58 point differences between both the teams, as just mentioned. 58 total points, and look at the number of kills that they have been able to secure. And the one who is closest to what I8 has able to secure, and that is 57, the number in terms of Clarity Esports. But certainly they are taking away. But what has happened just to 52 Rage Esports? They are just not been able to find themselves away from that 16th position in the last 9 matches. Portal Esports on a run. They are on a run. 54 total points. They must be eyeing to get close to where UNB are standing with a total of 61 points, and that is pretty much doable. With the amount of performance that they have shown, it's just a 7-point difference. Hoping that ZARAR and UNB don't have a very explosive start or many good games in terms of that. If not, Portal Esports will be on that success of ladder.
Well, what a play this is turning out to be. What a day this is turning out to be, where I8's domination continues on forth. With that, we've got first game taken care of. 3 more games do remain. But before we jump onto the map of Miramar, it is time to go on a short little break. We'll be right back.
Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea? We've been kicking up
Hello and welcome once again to PUBG Mobile Club Open. All thanks to Oppo F19 Pro for making it all happen. With that, it is time to move on with the schedule where we will be looking at the second game that will be starting off on Miramar, which of course the first game was in favor of Portal Esports, but now as the game progressed on along, as the day progresses on along, it is time to get busy with the heated map of Miramar. And when it comes to the heated discussion that is going to be taking place in this map, well, it is going to be, will I8 be bringing in that sort of a glorious play once again or not?
And one more discussion, what sort of mistakes are being exactly being repeated by the sides of Team QWERTY? They really need to get rid of all these things. They really made a good rotation from the sides of Lipovka down towards the western side of military base. It was not an easy task for them, but once they find themselves in all those rotation, after that they did fall down. Somewhere down the line, I just guess, I mean, they are lacking with a lot of gun power because it's just the placement points they are surviving, because in the last game itself, they took 8 placement points, just the 2 kills. Portal Esports on a run. We haven't seen those sort of gun gameplays coming in from their side, but certainly when they made it all look so easy, it was so very happening for them. But Puerto Palacio is being completely occupied by Team Star, where they're finding themselves with Los Leones. The heated contestation, as we are now getting to see I8 along with UAGxTUF and also North Esports. And talking about North Esports, it's Daku finding themselves, and it's the landing shot. Can we get one knock? Ooh. Can we get knock? One more. One. Not both, one, at least one, but still no down. Edgar is still on a run. I mean, he's finding himself with open position, and if Daku tries to get one knock with the help of that Winchester, he could have gone. I mean, this is twice just in the 2 game initiated. Last time it was into around the area of school and the apartment area. This time it is in the Los Leones, where the city of contestation is around there. And then we get to see the circle shifting away 170 meter. That means the circle that is dominating on the northern and central part of this map.
Oh yes, it is, and this is going to be a tricky but interesting affair to see what team is going to be bringing in the first blood, because there were teams in the vicinity that dropped down, and right now it is still, I mean, the teams are still bringing themselves onto the area itself, and this is where things are going to get really heated up, because Ivy is here, but alongside them there is going to be an opponent team as well, and that is going to be, from the looks of it, none other than Clarity Esports. And Dani is just keeping an eye out and is going to be waiting for the side of KSF from Ivy Esports to showcase his head, to showcase his face or torso, and just completely obliterate it. With on the other front, his teammates are going to be moving on across to try and get the better half of the fight as they are in contestation. This compound needs to be confirmed for themselves, but will Ivy be able to retaliate, or will it be Clarity who will be able to topple over the domination against the team of Ivy? It is going to be a close affair from both of these sides. They are just waiting to pincer each other down. Talking about the flanks itself, those flanks have been created from the side of Clarity, that's for sure, but Ivy, they are in the move, they are on the run, they are trying to just get themselves moving on across, and it is going to be Ivy who get the first knock. It is going to be Dani brought down to his knees, and not only that, it is also going to be from the side of Clarity, who has been brought down. Along with that, the first blood goes down towards Dr. Fate, and 2 kills already confirmed for the side of Clarity. This is just not the kind of play that was anticipated or expected from the side of Clarity Esports, but what a domination Ivy has showcased right here. With this, they are off to a brilliant start, giving a big blow to the team that finds themselves on the second place of the overall ranking, and that of course is Clarity, where Bubblu Wolf as well as 420 Boy, they are going to have to run. They are going to have to run, but they are probably not even going to be allowed to do that, because Dr. Fate is actually going to be set up right there, and this is going to be KSF who will be bringing the player down and will certainly try his best to confirm the kill, but Clarity get the better half because it was a 1v2 situation, and the team's mate, that is going to be Dr. Fate, was on a completely different flank itself, and when it came down to the play that was being made from the side of Clarity, it will be stopped in its track. KSF is the only player that Ivy lost, but in the first 4.5 minutes itself, Clarity Esports have been annihilated. They did get that 1 kill, that means they at least got 1 point for themselves, but that was not the play. That was not anticipated whatsoever at all in terms of that fight, but I do have to admit, Ivy played their cards right, and doing so resulted in them walking away with the kills from Clarity Esports.
Indeed. I mean, Ivy really played to perfection. Luck over here, we have seen Clarity going to the same area, and this time itself, this is going to be the time where Ivy might just charge upon to themselves. And there we go. one hit onto its head, and the players have been completely finished off with. Now the players are moving slowly and steadily into the zone. It is gonna be 52 Rage. That is completely in a split situation with Faster completely away where Zen is positioned. But everywhere apart from that same fight, I mean, they look pretty much comfortable. We expected some sort of drop contestation and collision around the area of Lost Layers, but it seems that now i8 and North Esports have made that decision that yes, we'll be surviving without taking any sort of fight. If we do so, I mean, that can be some one certain case. But Hassan Del Pechon completely being occupied by Team QWERTY, pretty much close to where Grounders are. So now Grounders, they also need some of those points, because in the start of the regional finals, Grounders were looking phenomenally well in terms of the total points that they were able to secure. But as soon as the game progressed, the one day went to day 2, and now it's day 3, TG has went down in terms of their performance.
That has been the case for the side of the Grounders. It has not favored them, that's for sure. On the other front, I did just see ZARAR taking a few shots. Not entirely sure if it was towards Quraysh. Probably should have been towards Quraysh Esports, or could have been... well, it has to be towards Quraysh Esports, because the position that NFPX Sky find themselves in is going to be covered from the shots that ZARAR took, because there's a mountain range in between. So it seems like ZARAR were taking a little bit of shot against the players of Quraysh, but of course that has not confirmed into any knock or kill or damage perhaps was dealt across the players of Quraysh. But for now, all the players are going to be moving on across, and we did just see ZARAR were able to make that rotation as well from the northern drop that they have found themselves on the other front. It is going to be i8, a team that has been reigning supreme. What a play this team has been creating for themselves. I mean, it is just unbelievable to think about it as well, because the way this team has just completely pinned it down. The first game ever that they played in, of course, the regional finals itself, they walked away with, I believe, 3 points or something on first day itself. But then after that, the way the game just progressed on from that moment on, it was absolute annihilation. Now Clarity being eliminated from this game means that i8 will have that much more of an opportunity to create that big a massive lead for themselves when it comes down to being on the top of the totem bowl. Well, you couldn't get any more crazier, because the team is doing so very well. Every single fight they're part of, they play their cards to perfection. The synergy certainly working for them, and of course that is where this team is able to get so many points from. With that, as we move on along, it is going to be freestyle on our screens, who are going to be keeping an eye out, because they can clearly hear that there is a team in the vicinity, and that seems to be none other than UNB.
That is the case. UNB is pretty much there in the same vicinity as now. Freestyles are also on a move, but pretty much, I mean, there is truce apart from those early fights that we got to see where Team Bablu Clarity was completely annihilated. The onslaught that came in from sides of IB, that was an unexpected thing that did happen, but that was certainly uninevitable in terms of what they were trying to do so. But as soon as Freestyles are making a move, they are making a lot of noise. But Power Grid is where they are standing at this moment, and they need not to make sure, because nobody is there in the same vicinity, and as soon as they find themselves in the closer vicinity of any team, they will be taking a fight. But one good thing they are making is that all the 4 players are in a split situation, and as soon as I said, it seemed that now they are going for a run, because they need those points, they need those kill, they need those placement points. Tarrant on a move, as now he's finding himself under a lot of good loots. We talk about those helmets, we talk about those level 3 vests. This is one player that can really act as a tank for the whole team. With Black completely finding himself away from all the rest of the 3 players, he is scouting the whole area, and then he will give the proper amount of call to the rest of the 3 teammates, and then they will be moving in tandem slowly and steadily into the zone. They are in the zone, but the shift will it be favoring all these teams that are around the area of San Martin, Power Grid, Graveyard, or not. That is going to be the case or not. Yes, it is, as now the circles tend to shift away from the Los Leones. Not only that, El Pozo is also out of contestation, and that has to make sure that Portal Esports, the team that really got the high fragging game, 12 kill it was last time, what sort of performance, what sort of influence would they able to bring this game itself? It is going to be one good thing. But for now, it is going to be a safe entry, an easy entry, because there is no team whatsoever on that front from where they are trying to make a move.
Absolutely. For now, we move on towards the team of 52X Rage, a team that we want to be able to see bring in some annihilating plays, but they are not allowed to do so, because they have they are being pincered down every single game that they are part of. They try and walk away with a few kills or a few placement points, but that is pretty much it. And again, when it comes down to the opportunities, there are only that many that you get in a game. And again, when it comes to the game numbers themselves, well, we are not looking too good because the game numbers are slowly but surely going down for the teams like the US race. But right here it is going to be I8 players absolutely penciling down the rotation coming in from the side of TUF, and Edgar's vehicle has been blown. He was given a little bit more of a damage, but thankfully he has not been eliminated off of this game. On the other front, it was Team QWERTY also taken on a fight, and as soon as TUF made that rotation, it was going to be modified that they find themselves in the close proximity, and Team QWERTY taking a fight against the players of 52X Rage. Not looking too good. TUF Virus is going to be finding himself in the exact same fray that Edgar did a few minutes ago, but I8 Spray will not be able to stop that team of TUF in their tracks, and they will be able to confirm that rotation for themselves. As they do, it is going to be UNB now who have been able to hear all of these shots that I8 have been taken, and TUF's Avenger is actually retaliating against the players of I8 and is going to be trying to pincer them down, but for now that is certainly not working around. On the other front, talking about TUF's player, Avenger has been knocked. Edgar not looking too good. Of course, this team of TUF is spread out a little bit, where they've got on one side modified teams, on the other they were trying to take on the fight against the players of I8.
They are certainly trying to take the fight, but Avenger still needs a revival in his own way, as now I8 Esports, they also have their eyes set upon them. It seems that Reviews will the one before he takes down. It's gonna be obviously UNB that will be taking that kill in its own way, and that was certainly with what Reviews was looking to take one more, but modified certainly on they were on the receiving end, pretty much close to where UNB players are positioned. It is going to be tough. That will be pretty much in the same direction, with Edgar finding himself at the top. Virus onto the backhand side. Thor is also making a close in, but modified. They are in the compound, they are in the symmetry, these symmetry buildings, but certainly the elevation, those altitude is not working into the favor, and there are some certain openings, those narrow openings, and that can bring the knock. If that happens, we might expect some straight slamming coming in from the sides of UAGxTUF, because both the teams are really hungry for all these kills. But apart from that, I mean, the players are knowing, the teams are knowing, but they are not taking the fight. They're just getting those amount of chip damages with the help of those mini taps and bullets, and there we go itself. Edgar also gives the equal amount of damage that Amish tried to give, so, and Zord was so low on HP, and then we'll get to see both trying to patch themselves up and then do the same thing, but no sort of straight slamming, no sort of aggressive push is what we are still waiting for, and the wait is going to be longer and longer as the circle is still favoring them.
That certainly is going to be the at the moment certainly going to be the case, but as we move on towards another side of the fight itself, it is going to be NES taking on the players of their opponent team, and the opponent team that is on the receiving front is none other than Team Star. Not the anticipation that of course Star had as they made that rotation, but in doing so it is going to be North Esports also who find themselves in the blue zone. They're going to have to be pushing on along real quick to try and get the comfort of the zone itself, because the blues are going to be damaging them. This is the third zone that we are talking about, and from there, as you move on through the 13th minute marker, the teams are looking pretty comfortable for now. There are kills being confirmed from one side to the other, but knocks is all that we have got, because well, that is what the play is being showcased from the side of these teams, and it is going to be just that one team that we saw in the first 4.5 minutes that was eliminated. That was the side of Bablu, from the side of course Clarity Esports basically. But as we have a lot more time remaining in this game, it seems like the players are taking their slow, steady pace to get into the comfort of those individual compounds that they find themselves in. TG are here right next to, of course, ZARAR's players, but ZARAR are going to be, what a moment right there that Sensei had. He was able to spot ZARAR's buzz, but he did not, or rather was not able to bring the player down, because it was almost, had he held that peak angle just a second longer, Waz would have directly stepped into the crosshair of Sensei, and there would have been a complete blow to ZARAR, and that seems to be the case right where once again it is going to be Sensei who finds his crosshair in the head of ZARAR's Sirius for now, and this is now going to turn into a fight, because the information has certainly been given away, and the teams are now going to be pushing on to get that converted into a point for themselves, into a kill for themselves. But of course they also are going to have to be very careful of the back angle, and that is something that Sensei has to keep a track of, and he's doing it perfectly. He's taking care of the front as to where the opponents are, as well as the back, looking pretty neat doing it.
Indeed, they are looking pretty good at this moment as they are not getting every sort of location. We talk about different players. Sensei is the one that is getting a lot of angle covered, but ZARAR serious. It seems that he is finding himself and busy in taking down the Quraysh Esports player down. Rather, they are not interested in taking down the players from side of the grounders, but it seems the grounders will be making a big blow as now Serious goes down. Vaz is the one that is really patching himself up, but I mean, Quraysh Esports, you better be careful, else you'll be taken care of as now Dubai is making a charge. Money has gone down and completely thrown away from this fight. Vaz in a 1v1 fight goes down as Dubai with that incredible knock makes it all happen for himself. And now the fight will be an even one as the players on the sides of Vaz won't be getting any sorts of revival. And this is a demise for one player gone down from the sides of ZARAR. Kronos is still on the backhand side and Quraysh Esports, they're just not over-aggressing. There were lurking angle from the sides of Quraysh Esports, but still not just over-aggressing. 3 players on a charge into the same vicinity with Money still on the charge. Kronos, he needs to watch his back. Watch your back. You don't watch. It is going to be Dubai taking care of. One more knock. Will this be converted into a kill? It seems that is going to be a tough task if they try to get the kill converted, but Bonga is on a run, and it seems that Dubai knows it pretty well that there is going to be one player at least that will be crossing all these ridges to make that revival successful. But Bonga, being the wiser one, he is deploying the smoke, but does the player from the sides of Quraysh Esports have that amount of gunpower, amount of firepower that can bring the knock through the smoke? That is going to be the question, that is going to be the thing to watch out for, as Bilal is still trying to spot down the player, but ZARAR's Kronos is on a different side of that small little cement slab, and now the grenades are being hurled from the sides of Quraysh Esports.
Well, Bilal had that opportunity right there. Had he just been praying blindly, it might have just connected, might have just confirmed into a kill for him, but that was not the case. The dude will be able to get a revival for now, and ZARAR will have a 3-man squad, no two ways about it. But on the other front, when it comes down to ZARAR and Quraysh Esports, they are having a pretty neat fight, but in all of this arena, why is there no third party being created from the side of the grounders? The grounders had the information, they can clearly hear that there is a fight taking place. This is the moment where the grounders can very well retaliate and get the kills for themselves, but they are being very quiet. They are just maintaining that position, and that is not what is required from them, because when you talk about the overall rankings and standing, the grounders need those points, and this is where Portal Esports is showcasing that exact same hunger to get those points, and it is Modified on the receiving front. Not looking too good, because Modified have been brought down to a 2-man squad, because 2 of them were caught off guard in the open, and it is going to be Portal Esports once again catching another team in the open, and that's going to be none other than Dr. Fate from the side of Ivy, and this is where Flex is also going to be brought down to just that one final player, Dr. Fate.
Fate needs to actually seal his fate for the moment, because he just cannot linger all around in the open situation. If that happens, it is going to be the same sort of onslaught that is coming in from the side of Portal Esports, and now Portal Esports just not allowing any team to survive the situation. Just one knock was what I was begging for, but certainly this time it was North Esports' better driving skill that really made it happen for them. Without any knock, they have made a move into the center line of the circle with no other team surviving on the same vicinity where Portal Esports are still there. It is really important for Portal Esports to make a move, because last game it was them for themselves. They really got those important kill points, placement points, and now they need one more good game, because at the end of the day, you just cannot rely upon one good game. It has to be in succession, it has to be in tandem, and in doing so, it is going to be Portal Esports Nocto that has fallen down, because it was Modified Amish with that M249 that really slaughtered him off.
What a perfect turn of events this has turned out to be, where indeed it was Portal Esports who were trying to eliminate the opposition, but now the opposition certainly has tried to deliver perfect damage, and I8 is the team that I was just about to name. I8 in the kill feed, one by one, completely dominated North Esports and sent them back with just that 2 points that they've been able to accumulate. On the other front, I8 are still not yet done. They're going to be pushing on with the same exact aggression against the players of UNB, and I8 are taking their chances against the entirety of the lobby, where Modified are also at the receiving front thanks to I8's onslaught. This team has already accumulated 8 kills to themselves. There is no stopping them. There is absolutely no stopping them. The way the team has just completely showcased the synergy that is created within them, from Uzum to Crypto to Ace to Reviews, this team is dominating beyond belief pretty much, and now they are still not yet satisfied. Their appetite is so very large when it comes to these games that again and again and again, every single game after game, they get those kills converted for themselves. And Crypto right here just absolutely bringing in that perfect burst towards the players of UNB, and UNB's player is not looking good because he's going to be at the edge, and that is exactly where Crypto wants him to be, out in the blue or give him his life. And that is what Blade is going to be confirming through the smoke, getting that knock, and eventually of course he will try and get that kill confirmed, and that is the play that has been made. A few of the kills were certainly stolen as well, where we do have Portal Esports as well as Team Star bringing themselves, but TUF being eliminated. What a crazy game this is. With 20 minutes, we are 10 teams remaining.
Quraysh also on a charge is now trying to take down the players of Freestyles. With the players going down, it is going to be important task for 52x Rage, because we still haven't seen this team in this action today. They're still finding themselves in 16th position, and no whatsoever being the action that has been thrown in from this side. I really want to see them back in action, but the grounders, before that happens, it is going to be Zigsaw that is really calming down the players from the sides of NFP. As the players now are going down slowly and steadily, it is going to be Katir from the side of NFP that is just trying to get that revival, but before that happens, it is going to be Hasu finding himself away from the shack, and he was wise enough, he was well enough to know the exact position of the situation, and that made him get all those important points. But we are down towards all 7 teams, because we have still 23 players alive, and we are moving towards the 21st minute of the circle, and all of us are in a lot of ruckus, a lot of chaos has been invited, has been created, thus resulting in a lot of players losing their life. Not only players, it is going to be team, big team. Just imagine of Sky Sports and Northeast Sports, lot of team IV have been eliminated. It was Bablu in the early stage of the game, and this Miramar has been one of the most happening in Miramar we have seen in this Club Open Pakistan region.
Absolutely, and talk about freestyle. I mean, the nade parade that they're showcasing against the players of 52x, and right before this fight, they were the ones who were absolutely trying to pincer down the players of I8 as well, where they were able to knock down a few of them players. But on the other front, when it comes to 52x, this team is on the run. They will not be allowed. Of course, it is going to be either the blue zone or the nade parade showcased from the side of FS, and that is the only two opportunities that these teams have. A nade being showcased from the final player of Rage is going to be, of course, Zen, and his nade has resulted in certainly bringing a little bit of damage to FS, but will that be enough? Respect and Tyrant have been brought down to their knees, where FS, Malik and Black are going to have to work towards the revival, and same will be the case that Zen will be giving to his teammates alongside all of this. It is going to be I8 sitting up on top with 10 kills confirmed for themselves, 22 minutes in, and on the screen where we are talking about FS as well as Rage, the two teams also need to get the revival and confirm that revival and get into the zone, because the zone is not favoring them. We've got Team QWERTY being a part of the arena as well, and as soon as 52x tried to get themselves revived, it was not going to be allowed, because, well, you've got Team QWERTY who are also trying to steal these kills away, and 52x Rage, they are looking pincered down with 0 points for themselves as of now. 2 players knocked. It is going to be a tricky affair for Zen and his teammates.
All the 3 players are looking pretty much helpless in this moment, and it's going to be Faster that is just trying to fasten himself up in all these directions, in all these areas. It's going to be tough task and tough challenge for them if they really need to make a move from all these angles, from these areas, because it is not only one team. As just mentioned, it is going to be also a QWERTY that really have their eyes set upon, and as soon as Faster makes a move into the zone, it was not an disengagement, rather it was a prayed down, it was hung down moment for Freestyle, as they got a huge number of kill from that, and it got an elimination from 52x Rage, and still it is going to be no stopping for Team QWERTY, as all the 4 players are coming in from the northern side, and they are making pay for any team that is trying to survive in the same vicinity. It is going to be the grounders, still 1 player alive. I mean, kudos to that lad that is still surviving with that approach, but Malik is finding himself in an open position, and he is up against one big team that is looking kill hungry. 12 kill is what the team is able to secure. Can they repeat and emulate the same sort of performance that we got to see in the day 2 of Miramar? We have to still wait for that, because still there are 9 players left apart from the 4 that comes from the sides of I8, and they still have that chance to emulate that 21-2 or 22 kill chicken dinner. If that is going to be the case, I am really hopeful and to see that happening.
That most certainly could, because the way this team is moving on along is looking really ferocious. But in the kill feed, again and again, I am looking at Team QWERTY bringing in kills for themselves. They are the ones who eliminated Quraysh Esports. They are the ones who are bringing in a lot of ruckus for the side of Portal Esports, and will be able to eliminate them as well, with that Team QWERTY sitting at 7 kills, looking really ferocious for now. But talk about consistency. FS is still here. 3 teams remaining, but FS is still here, and they are bringing that perfect play that is working for this team that finds themselves in the top of this leaderboard, of the overall leaderboard, and that is, of course, the consistent play that FS worked towards. But now, as we have 3 teams remaining, it is going to be I8 with 12 kills, Team QWERTY with 7 kills, with all 4 players for both these teams. But talking about the zone itself, the zone is not going to be favoring any of those, because QWERTY is the one who find themselves in the better half of this entire region. And will they be able to just keep that control? Well, we shall see.
Yet having the eye upon this zone, and so are the players from the sides of Freestyle. But the best part for QWERTY is that they not only have those zones, they have those important vehicles. If they try to park around those, middle ground, we have seen in the past how this vehicle can help them. If getting destroyed, that can be a potential cover. But now, as soon as the circle made a shift, I8 are on a roll. Those help of those smokes they have created, it is going to do not to be an easy march into the zone, but still easy enough if they try to pull down the players. And the way they have used the smoke, that has completely blinded the front area, and it seems that Voltrux and other players from the side of QWERTY are not able to spot down the player, and thus not resulting any knock. And in that, it is going to be Crypto that is slowly and steadily marching towards the left hand side, where Team QWERTY need to be very much cautious.
They they most certainly do need to be very careful indeed, because from one side it's going to be I8, on the other front it's going to be FS Malik, and now I8 have pushed and they have brought down Khan. In doing so, Reviews has been brought down, Uzum has been brought down. This is looking like a tricky affair for the side of Team QWERTY as well as I8, because it has all fallen down to Crypto, and his answer will be to fall down as well. Now Blade is the man of the hour for I8, and he has to deliver. He has to bring Voltrux down. The health is going to be working for him, but with just 40%, 30% health, Voltrux was able to eliminate the competition. He took on 3 players and then finally was able to bring a blow to the 4th. What an annihilation from the side of Team QWERTY's Voltrux, and this dude is alive. This dude is on. I8 certainly walking away on the 3rd spot with 13 kills for themselves. That is no easy feat, but now it is going to be Team QWERTY against the side of FS.
FS, they are marching in towards where Team QWERTY are just positioning, and all the players didn't get an important time to actually regroup. It is going to be not an easy task still, but the moment Freestyles are moving forward, it seems that Respect is the one that is going to be still surviving. With Black going down, Malik is on the charge. It is going to be an MG3 light machine gun that we just saw in the hands of Team QWERTY that were trying to pin down the players, but not an easy task. We are still down to 2 players from each side, and it seems that now Black is getting the revival done. If that happens, then now again Freestyles will be up against 2 to 3 players, but on a different tangent. It is going to be QWERTY getting the revival done, but so Khan will be getting a huge amount of damage onto his head, and that results him falling back and disengaging. But still the fight is on. Nobody is just ready to give an inch apart from that line. 3 players each from the sides of Team QWERTY and Freestyle, and we are heading towards the 28th minute of this Miramar. Wolverine is there, Khan is there, Voltrux is there, and so is from the sides of FS. It is going to be Black, Respect, and Malik. Black is holding that tree trunk, he is holding that McLaren, and that can be a potential cover. From the backhand side, it is going to be Malik and Respect trying to pin down the player, but smokes are now being used. Voltrux is going for the right hand side and Wolverine on the left hand side, but Khan being the wiser one, just in case if the knock comes in, he's going to be the one that will be getting the revival done, are also going to be tanking for the moment. But Black is noting every sort of rotation, but does he know that it is going to be one slithery snake that is going to be Wolverine that is hiding himself into it, and it is going to be an important task for him to actually get all the information done. But the way the players are moving towards the same direction, it seems that nobody is just allowing anyone to get their hands or their body exposed.
What a play being showcased from the side of Team QWERTY indeed, as they have themselves flanked, but for the moment it is the smoke that is certainly working for them. Black, he should be spotted down, and he will be spotted down from the side of Voltrux, and it is the LMG from the side of Voltrux who he is trying to use to perfection, but Khan on that flank angle will not be able to give that retaliation as was anticipated from the side of QWERTY. But this team is still not yet done, and 1v1 situation where FS move on to take a chicken dinner for themselves. Freestyle have reigned in supreme in those final moments. Team QWERTY walked away with a lot of kills as well, but it is going to be Freestyle getting that chicken dinner. 7 kills, 1,988 damage is what this team was able to dish out with 22 points. They have moved all the way up to the second position. Of course, we do know when it comes to the first position, I8 have created a massive lead for themselves, but all the other teams, second, third, fourth, fifth, they are so close in terms of the points, and that is where the fight is turning out to be, and Freestyle has reigned in supreme. Till now, they were working towards placement points, but this time around, they have not only worked towards placement, but also towards those kill departments. 7 kill is a GG play for the side of FS, a perfect control game from the side of FS, and in doing so, both of these teams, Team QWERTY as well as FS, have given us a really spectacular Miramar is what I would say.
Indeed, I mean, right off the go, the players started stepping up, getting into those kills and those placement points, and then resulting a huge amount of placement points and kill points that did secure.
True. Absolutely. With that, let's move on and have a look at the most valuable player, the MVP of this game. That is going to be none other than I8's Blade with 6 kills, 905 damage that he was able to dish out in 24, almost 25 minutes of survival time. So a GG play being showcased from the side of Blade for I8, but that's not it, because when we move on from this stat to the top players, that is where we shall see what his teammates were up to when he was reigning in supreme with the 6 kills.
Indeed, I mean, talk about reviews, talk about his team. Everyone just was looking to phenomenally well in terms of what they were doing. So, but 6 kill is what with which Blade stand at this moment. 905 damage. This is no joke. I mean, he has been emulating the same sort of performance we saw him in Erangel. He was surviving his reviews till the last moment. This time itself, a lot of players were being pinned down. A lot of teams were being pinned down while they were trying to rotate in the same vicinity. And then it was again Blade from the side of I8. 905 damage, 6 kills. What a number, what a number. But then we need to actually commend the guys from QWERTY. Voltrix and Wolverine, they made it look all happen all easy until and unless the onslaughter was brought in. But the MG3 actually, talk about that, it was really working in the favor of them. It was Voltrix that really brought the 2 knocks, but then it was no sort of supports in the last game. In the last fight itself, Wolverine tried really hard, but as soon as Khan went down, it was just not enough for Wolverine, as everything was residing onto the shoulders of Wolverine. But Wolverine still tried, and that has resulted in himself finding in the highest kill, and that is going to be 6 for the moment for him, as now UNBxNF also find himself in the longest kill distance of 304 meters.
Well, what a play, what a day, what a play. We've got 2 games done, and this is where the things are looking pretty neat for these teams. I8, when it comes to the points, they are absolutely in equilibrium with the side of Team QWERTY with 23 points, and just 1 point shy is going to be Freestyle, 22 points to that team. And then from there, we topple on down towards Portal Esports, who were able to get a 2-digit point for themselves as well. That's going to be 14. And from there on out, it is just a 1-digit affair for the rest of the remaining teams. The Grounders walking away with 9 points. Quraysh Esports walking away with 8. Ivy with 5. Team Sky with 5 as well. As that is the first page of the match ranking. As we move on across to the next page, we shall see what sort of a play was showcased this time around. Well, decent is again what I would say, because so many of the teams got so many kills, but still the second page was also part of the kill department and were able to get at least 1 point. That is going to be all 16 teams getting at least 1 point. Is certainly a decent outing for them.
Nobody is standing on 0. That's a good thing. That is an optimism that we can actually turn out from this match. And this was the best Miramar that we've seen in this region itself, because right off the go we saw some of the fights going in, and everybody was just looking up to take the fight. And then we went towards the mid stage of the game where ZARAR was in fight with Quraysh, and then it was the Grounders. Grounders was just not willing to take any sort of fight. Rather, they were just going for the placement points, and they have gotten some huge amount of placement points itself in this match. But some sort of a consistent gameplay is what we are getting, especially from the sides of Portal Esports.
That is true. That is so true as well. And again, to the point that you just made, that this was the most enjoyable Miramar, I have to agree from the zone. From the first fight all the way till the 28th minute marker, there were fights. There were so many fights taking place all across the board that resulted in the game resulting all the way up to the 28-29 minute marker. With that, let's move on and of course summarize all those fights through the Oppo F19 Pro moments.
And then we got to see, as we just mentioned, 4-minute markups. How often do we get to see the fights happening? And in that 1v1 fight, where a team as big as Clarity Esports Bablu, which find themselves in the second position, indulging themselves in a fight against a team that really hasn't shined, against IB. And in that IB won. I mean, you got every sort of thing a team that was on the last trying to take down the players. It was a toppling moment for them, and then we got to see Portal Esports that is still on a run, finding themselves in the 18-minute where they really tried to eliminate the player, and then we got to see those sweet grenades landing straight into the lap of UNB. Some good spotting technique from the sides of Blade, because it was not an easy task for him to spot the players in the smokes, and it was really a daunting task for 52x Rage also to move out of this precarious situation.
Absolutely, and from there we move on into the top 3, and this is where IA tried to dominate. From that, of course, Western front of the positioning of Team QWERTY, but Voltrix all by himself was absolutely able to stop I8 in their tracks, and that is where we move on through with the total damage that was able to be showcased from these teams. From Freestyle to Team QWERTY to I8, I mean, these teams have had some really good points and stats working for themselves, where Port Esports is also right here with 6 kills, 1607 points. But from that moment on forth, the other teams, they were part of fights, but of course were not able to get that many kills. For the side of 52x Rage, not a decent outing. Definitely not a decent outing for the side of UNB No Fear, because 442 is the damage histogram that's working for them, but only 1 kill confirmed. Same for Modified, 421, but only 1 point in terms of that kill. So a lot to be anticipated, but with all of that taken care of, the kill-hungry team of I8 have reached 99 kills. 99 kills. Seriously, I mean, look at that. The Clarity Esports is the one who is sitting at 58, and that's it. That's it. There's no other team that's above that.
No one closer to it.
And this team of I8 are already on the second last day. Or wow. There is just, I mean, it's pretty clear to almost say that this team is going to be moving into the PMPL Season 4 slot. They're going to be absolutely decimating the competition, because 181 point is what this team is at. The second position holders, that's of course Freestyle, is at 105. So yeah, I8 Esports have created a league of their own, and they're just playing for fun, whereas the other teams, they are playing to be on the second position, to be on the third position, to be on the fourth position. But the I8 team, well, that is domination. That is just clear, annihilating domination.
They are playing it with ease. I mean, no sort of trying hard. They're just going in, just trying to dominate the player. In the last fight itself, there was no two-ways doubt about that, that they are not trying really hard. I mean, they are just playing it with perfection. The way they are just trying to do is certainly working in the case. I mean, talk about those things. It is going to be an easy task for them, as now Quraysh Esports slowly and steadily, they are also onto that success of ladder with the 59 total points. But the way with which I8 is flying away with the total points lead. I mean, somewhere down the line, they started the day off with the 130, somewhere down the line with that point, and now they are closing it with that double century markup, and with still 2 games left.
Wow.
Still 2 games.
Yep, exactly. I mean, this is just absolutely awesome play being showcased from I8 Esports. With that, we've got 2 games taken care of. 2 more games do remain. Thus, before we jump into the third game of the day, we're going to go on a short little break. Stick around. We're going to be right back.
Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run. Oh, what's the word on the sea? We're kicking up the dust, if you know what I mean. We got a good thing going. We got a good thing going on.
Welcome back once again to the annihilating play that is being showcased from the side of I8. Of course, this is going to be the PMCO for Pakistan region, all thanks to Oppo F9 Pro. We've got 2 games done, time to jump into the third one. That is going to be on Sanhok. With that, let's bring up the schedule and showcase what sort of a play that has been showcased from these teams. The teams have been looking real good, and as I said, the annihilating play that is being brought on, the destructiveness that has been brought on into the lobby, it is thanks to I8, and that team, well, there is no stopping them.
They're not interested in getting any sort of placement points. It's just the kill that has been completely decimating, and I guess I would really love to see that do they have enough of kill that will be tallying to other teams' total performance. If that happens to be a case, I'm really interested to see. But the first 2 game itself done with the Portal Esports getting the chicken and FS also getting this chicken in the second match. But itself, we are not done, as now the next game is going to be of Sanhok, and right off the go, we are jumping into the tropical rainforest as the flight path takes its way from the area of Cow down to the area of Camp Charlie, where the flight path is going in.
Well. It is going to be dissecting the map in 2 equal halves. We've got all the perfect drop locations that are possible that are going to be available to these teams. But as the day progresses on along, it is looking like I8's destruction is going to be reigning supreme, and that's the only thing that peeps are going to be talking about. Of course, we do have Freestyle, we do have QWERTY, who are showcasing some perfect plays, but the domination that has been showcased from the side of I8 is going to be giving them such a massive advantage in terms of the points that they've been able to accumulate for themselves. It is not going to be an easy task, even for that matter, for the likes of QWERTY Esports, a team that I anticipated would be the one to give the side of course, I8 a little bit of an edge. But that is not to be so, because this team is, well, there is no breakers for I8 for now. And talking about the drop locations itself, it seems like we are going to be looking at an early contestation between the side of North Esports' Zameen against IV's players.
Indeed, the banter continues as we head towards the area of Sanhok. I mean, it was so happening the game of Miramar that it ought to have so much of action start off right of the go as we head towards the fight. It is going to be North Esports completely pinned down, and Zameen, it seems that it's just a matter of time where he will be buried under the Zameen Slaver. He is surviving one more lead, even if that get connected on the head or on the boot or somewhere else, he will be the one that will be getting taken care of. As now Dr. Fate is just trying to seal the fate of Zameen from the side of North Esports, and the way when the players are jumping in, it seems that the fight might be done. Zameen getting spotted down. There we go. 1 knock, 1 kill right off the go, with IV getting 1 more initial start. You remember, brother, in the last game itself, they took down 1 big squad, and that was of QWERTY. This time it is North Esports.
Well, certainly not the play that North Esports anticipated. On the other front, talking about the drop locations themselves, we do see 52xTrade getting themselves absolutely set up in the comfort of the Paradise Resort, and there is going to be no team around in the vicinity to give them any competition for the moment. On the other front, as we move on north from that Paradise Resort, we have Team Star on towards Cow all by themselves, and as we move on towards ZARAR Esports, a team that is trying their level best to get the points across, is going to be happily getting set up towards Hatton area. So again, talking about contestations, we don't really have any team in the vicinity of each other to bring in those contestations, but for now things are looking pretty neat. Things are looking really good, because when it comes to the playstyle that I8 are using, I8 have a 2-man split where they have 2 players down towards Lakavi and 2 players who are going to be moving on slowly but surely towards the edge of the zone. As they do so, it is going to be modified, waiting for them towards the quarry region, and that is going to be a tricky situation if modified do not get themselves out away from I8's path.
Nobody wants to be in the crosshair of I8. Rather, it does not be the case, because Modified was really looking good to be in the top 5, top 6. But certainly, if that is going to be the case, that is going to be a big body blow onto the players of Modified, because slowly and steadily, I8 are not coming in with the help of those vehicles, but rather on their feet, but still strong and fast enough to find themselves in a closer vicinity. But FS, I mean, this is one split that they have been actually carving out and executing out in the past itself, and this time itself they have found themselves in the area of Campog and Cave on the 4 players, a different split, and that has certainly been the case. That has resulted themselves getting a lot of points in terms of what they are getting for sure. As soon as UNBNF are making a move into the zone, all the 4 players, talk about Deadshot, Max, Pharaoh and Shazam. I mean, today's today's gameplay, UNB hasn't been in that colored performance. They have looked completely off-colored. Maybe it's just their demise, maybe it's just the combination with which they are lacking, but they have to make sure that still 2 games left. We just saw how the teams are jumping up. Talk about the rise of Portal Esports. That can certainly be the case of UNBNF too.
That certainly could be. We shall see if they will be allowed to, because again, I mean, you bring the conversation, it seems like I am a broken record repeating myself, but that is what the stat is being showcased, because if the teams like I8 are going to be taking that many kills for themselves, then the others in the lobby will not really be left with enough fish for them to basically bring down. And on the other front, as we move on towards another team that is performing from the underperformance that we've seen to making a big difference, it is going to be the side of Team QWERTY, who are now reigning in supreme. But as they do so, they have been able to pencil down the players of Team Sky, and in a spray, in just a single spray, Khan will be able to bring down 2 players, and not only that, will also be able to confirm the kills for himself and his team. What a dominating start to the game it is. But sadly, for the side of Team Sky, they are left with just 2 players remaining. Halsey on the one side, and the team player Ash on the other, who was trying to make that rotation but will not be allowed to do so, because Team QWERTY have a better control of this entire region. An amazing spray and amazing control of information and utilization. But now we shall have to see, are they going to be pushing on to take that control against the team of Sky, or are they just going to keep on moving across with their own known rotation? For now, it seems like they're on the hunt. It certainly does seem like Destroyer, the way he's looking on towards that exact angle that they saw the opponent team's rotation, seems like this team of QWERTY is on the hunt, and they want to be able to confirm those kills for themselves. Of course, 2 is the kill department that this team has had. 2 point is what they've got, but they want all 4.
Indeed, they want all 4, and that should be the approach, because they really want all these points, and that will be getting close towards what they are hoping to. And the approach is really pretty good, because teams NFP Sky don't have any other option rather than to disengage and retreat away from the fight that they were trying to take. Rather, they were surprised they were not trying to take, but then again we get to see MG3 light machine gun itself in this game of Sanhok, and in last game itself it was Voltrux that was really making it tough for the players to survive, and they were just all bleeding out with all their blood just splashed around the desert. And this time, is it going to be certain players that will be getting hands onto that exclusive airdrops? For now, nobody was seen in the vicinity. That means it will be left untouched. But talking about that, it is going to be Clarity, Bablu, Pika this time bringing knock on to UNB. The misery is just not ending for UNB, as one player has been knocked. The revival is going to be the key, or is it going to be the finish upon which Clarity must be working? But in the area of Tambang, we can get to see Portal Esports, all the 4 players alive, and the fight that we were expecting to happen, that is still happening. The revival has come, and since it's a mid to long distance ranged fight, I mean, there is no option where Clarity Esports can go for a charge.
Well, that certainly could be the case, because when it comes down to the play that is being showcased right here from these teams, it is going to be a decent outing for so many of them, because of course, as of now, we're only just 7 minutes in, and in the 7-minute marker itself, we are looking at quite a lot of teams that have been able to, well, get the information, and trying to convert that information into the kill department is the only thing that is lacking from this game. For now, it seems to be looking absolutely fine and okay for so many of them, but that's only the first zone. That is only the first phase. As the phase moves on along from first to the second, that is when things are going to get trickier and trickier. But on the other front, when we talk about the zone itself, the zone is going to be a bit on towards the teams that are finding themselves towards the western front, and so many of them are doing so. It is just Team Star making that late rotation for themselves, and of course they will be able to get into the comfort of the zone as well. As we move on towards another team, that's going to be the side of FS, that is going to be Freestyle, who did get a perfect play in the previous game, but this time around it is going to be Modified who will be bringing down and penciling down FS, and it is none other than Black, who has been blocked and knocked, and confirmed kill will be given to Amish right here. Modified certainly playing their cards right, but FS rotation has been caught. On the other front of the map altogether, Quraysh Mani is the man who is taking the fight towards the players of Clarify.
Modified trying to win down the players of Freestyle. Now they're going on slowly and steady With Tyrant still hiding themselves in the smoke, it is really a tough challenge for him to get revive, and revive is not going to be the case as now Modified his bullet is on a charge. He has prepared on some of the bullets, but it seems that Malik and Respect will be trying really hard in order to get their teammates getting revived, but Modified really have some different idea whatsoever. But fine, for the moment they need to be careful because it is gonna be I8 that will be making a comeback into the Camp Charlie from the backhand side, but Bullet has certainly changed his stances, Bullet has certainly changed his position, and Tyrant, it seems that now he's standing on his feet, and rather he is standing on his feet and also applied that first hit on his favor, but Muhammad, the location is completely revealed, his coordinate has been completely revealed, but Zod from different direction is trying to bring that X factor with Bullet on the right hand side. The fight is still on, it's a long distance fight, but the morale and the courage is just not going down for Modified.
Absolutely, they are just trying to hunker down the players of FS and have been able to do so. FS is just not allowed to get away from that position whatsoever at all, and Modified are trying to get the kills confirmed for themselves, where Respect tried to make a push, and now it is going to be his teammate, Modified's teammate, who will be able to confirm that push from the side of Respect to get into the comfort of the teammates. Not allowed, mate. They're just not going to be allowed. They're going to be brought down, and Modified slowly but surely are just confirming those knocks and getting those kills. But the only thing that is remaining is for Modified themselves to get third party, because they have made so much noise that could result in, again, them getting third party. But on the other front, once again in the kill feed, we have Quraysh Esports taking on the players of Clarity Esports. An interesting play being showcased right there from the side of course, Quraysh Esports. But on the one tangent that we are talking about, Modified, the burst that is being sprayed on, this team is just not stopping. Slowly but surely, they have made a push, but now it will all be down to Malik if he will be able to utilize his position in that watch tower, in that sniper tower, to take down this push coming in from Modified. But it looks easier said than done sort of a situation, because Modified, they are looking absolutely perfectly set up to get this kill confirmed for themselves, and in doing so, they are going to be walking away with 2 kills.
Indeed. I mean, one is what they are standing at the moment, and they are certainly looking to convert into 2, as now they are trying to make a move, and it is a run for which they are running, and it is going to be Freestyle that has to retreat and disengage from this fight. Certainly, the gun gameplay is not working into the favor of Freestyle, because that was a long range fight, and as soon as the knock was coming in, the other players were getting also a lot of shots. But talking about shots, it seems that Team Star is on the back foot, as now 2 players, Fury and Loser, goes down, 2 still surviving, and it's a charge from none other than Ivy.
Well, Ivy really trying their level best, but it will not be allowed, because Team Star are looking in focus and control, and they are going to be trying to take on and pincer down the players. But Ivy, they did get their they did play their cards right, and KSF is the man who has been able to get the knocks confirmed in 2 kills, and this team of Ivy Esports have 5 kills confirmed for themselves, 5 points already. But the zone is what they're gonna now have to run towards, and it's only 70 meters, so that's gonna be no problem whatsoever at all for the side of Ivy Esports as they get themselves moving on across. It is going to be also the side of Team QWERTY that was part of the kill feed, where we did see Team QWERTY taking on the players of North Esports. When it comes down to North Esports as players, they have been brought down to a 2-man squad, where Daku and Snow are the only 2 remaining, whereas for well, for the side of Team QWERTY, they are looking pretty neat. And talking about the rotations that are being brought on along, it was Team ZARAR making a water rotation from the western front and have found themselves in the close proximity of Portal Esports. Not entirely sure if Portal Esports have spotted them or not, but it certainly seems like that is not the case, at least for now. On the other front, I8's player finally on our screens, going to be taking on the players of 52X Rage, and it is going to be the nade parade that they are trying to bring on. But it seems like I8's 52X is faster, is going to be bringing down I8's Blade, who was trying to go on for a flank angle, but 52X will not be allowing that. And on the front, it is going to be Cairo who will be bringing in that snail pace approach, but slowly but surely going to be pushing the players of I8, and in doing so, it seems like a very interesting play is being showcased from both of these teams. But this team of 52X Rage, they better be careful, because as they try and get that revival, I8 is going to be well equipped and prepped to get themselves the fight that they want. And when it comes to I8, this team does not back out of any of those fights, and in doing so, 52X Rage have now gotten knocks as well. And not only knocks, it seems like kills have been confirmed. And talking about kills, well, there you go. 4 kills confirmed for I8. Yes, they did take those knocks, but they ended up using those knocks as baits. And as they did so, the other 2 players who were remaining, that was Crypto and his teammate, just completely moved on along and got the kills confirmed for themselves. And in that, 52x Rage has been eliminated.
Crypto and Museum to the rescue for the sides, and it was for a moment looked like that 52x Rage can have the better half and will have the last laugh, but certainly was not the case as both the players chimed in and bait the savior. It was an all easy affair for them, but as soon as the circle made a shift, we talked about, especially you talked about the water rotation that ZARAR was trying to make a move, but it seems that now Portal Esports, they're still unaware of the situation because the triangle is certainly popped out in some different directions, rather not in a direction where ZARARs are trying to make a move. That means the location and the rotation is still unknown, but UAGxTUF are slowly and steadily gathering the pace and are finding themselves in a closer proximity where ZARAR's players are actually positioned, and it will be a head-to-head fight that I would love to see because both the teams need all these points. ZARAR on different tangent got the chicken in the last game itself. This time indeed it was not the 2 game that really they wanted to be. That should have gone to the favor, but that didn't. But certainly it is going to be this time where they need to fight themselves in that situation. But all of a sudden, Team QWERTY is trying to turn the tide, as now IB are getting a lot of dent with 1 player KSF being knocked, 1 player on the open while trying to make a rotation, completely being finished, and now 2 players are still alive. And now we are getting to see the fight that we were expecting from. Vaz brings 3 knocks onto the players of UAG, and the fight that we were preempting and expected to happen is certainly off the go, and that has gone the green signal, as now the green marker team, that is going to be ZARAR Esports, are trying to take down the players, as now Edgar is still surviving, the last player, the last hope for UAG in this game of Sanhok. But will he be able to survive in all these situations, because it's everything burning, it's an inferno that has been created, the grounds are burning, the skies are turning red, the waters are turning red rather than, and it is going to be tough chance, tough luck for them, as now they did fought around with 1 player still alive. It is going to be hope alive as soon as that happens. It is going to be 1 player thought that has been getting eliminated, but before that happens, it's going to be serious that will be taken away. Was brings in with Cronus M249. That action really put the full stop to this fight.
What a play being showcased from ZARAR indeed, and in doing so, TUF have been eliminated. And moving on along, we are going to be looking at ZARAR making a rotation. Almost 450-500 meters is the distance that this team will have to cover. In that, 13 teams are remaining. We are in 16 minutes on this map of Sanhok, and now things are going to get trickier and trickier because it is 440 or 450 meters. Yes, as they make that rotation, the other teams are also going to be doing the exact same thing, and as that starts taking place, we will be a part of a lot of third-party situations, and that is where we can clearly see that ZARAR, as they try and get themselves moving across from that position, it is the grounders who are going to be trying to get the better half of that position that ZARAR find themselves in. On the other front, talking about the grounders themselves, they also have to make 180 plus the meters of rotation to get into the zone itself. And in kill feed, we have Portal Esports taking on the fight. Modified, so very close to the vicinity of UNB. And when it comes to UNB, well, this team has no fear as they jump into the fight without a lot of problem, and this is where just one perfectly cooked nade is going to be absolutely pincering down Mr. Bullet from the side of Modified, and Modified's teammates are going to be right across him, but will they be able to give him the revive that he requires? Because when it comes down to the side of Shazam from UNB, this dude is going to be so very much wanting to confirm the kill, but it is I8 who get the better half of that fight. Yes, it was Shazam who knocked the player, but I8 stole the kill away, and Modified Amish could not even revive his teammates. So it is looking like Modified can be third party from I8, and that is exactly what is happening, where from one side it was UNB, but from the other it is I8 who are now pincering down Modified.
Who is joining the party? Who is joining the party? It is going to be none other than I8 that is joining the party, and in doing so, it is going to be Shazam that has got a lot of hit onto his body, and also that dead shot has gone down, and all of a sudden, the tide are just turning odd for UNB. As soon as that happens, the player needs the revival, but not the case, and now Reviews goes down. You cannot show the back, even if you are I8. Your back is not made of steel, as you will be getting a lot of shots if you are trying to show the back, and this is one basic if any team, any player does, even if you are a top, you will be taken down.
You certainly will be taken down. There's no two ways about it. 18 minutes into the game, we are looking at UNB, who were a few minutes ago so very strong, but now have been eliminated because it is I8 who have stepped into the arena. Ring the bell, open the doors. It is going to be I8 without question, parading in, taking in those kills, and once again, fourth circle, and this team has confirmed 8 kills for themselves, eliminating teams one by one, and have been moving on to pincer down that many more teams, and they are not done. They are still not yet done, because now I8 is going to be pushing on and pressurizing the players of FS, and will be completely destroying Tyrant from the lobby, and confirming that will give I8 their 9th kill. With 19 minutes into the game, we are left with 10 teams surviving.
10 teams still surviving. As the custom says, I'm in a lot of ruckus, lot of chaos, and a complete set of turmoil. A siege is what we are heading towards, where a lot of teams are finding themselves into, as now it is going to be a tough task for I8 to make a move into the zone, as now they have tried to spot down the players, but there is still an option for I8. If they rather try to take the back angle, there's still an option, but it seems that now Clarity will be making a move, and one player can do the business, and he's spotted down one player, two player falls down. Clarity, Bablu, they are also going down all of a sudden, but Dubai has taken a certain dent onto the players of Clarity Esports. But this boy from the sides of Clarity, 420 boy, eventually his name is also boy, has taken a lot of dent onto the players, and that has resulted in a domination mode where Quraysh Esports has money has gone down, and it is just the one player surviving. I mean, all of a sudden, for the last 2 matches, things are not looking good as it has been in the past for Clarity Esports itself.
Absolutely not looking good for Clarity whatsoever at all, because I8 is in the arena. As soon as I8 step in, you know that they will be walking away with those kills. Clarity Esports get 6 kills for themselves, but that will be the end of their story on this map of Sanhok. With that, we still do have Team QWERTY making that rotation from the north, as we can clearly see. On the other front, when it comes down to I8, they are going to be stepping into the zone itself from the side. When it comes down to their play, they are just pincering down whatever team they can find, and ZARAR, as they get themselves so in the close proximity of Quraysh Esports, have gotten both of them trading 1 knock each. But now the revival will be confirmed, and as soon as the revival is confirmed, it is going to be Quraysh's Dubai who will be absolutely pincering down the player of course, ZARAR, where it is looking like Quraysh Esports this time around have had a really good game. They have been able to confirm 6 kills already, and now it seems that there will be no more opportunity for the side of that team, because ZARAR will be stopping them in their tracks.
They have been stopped certainly by ZARAR Esports. One player still surviving, the one that gets the revival if that happens, and that has certainly happened. Now 2 players strong, they must be moving away into the circle, but there is one team on the left hand side we can get to see, and that is going to be of Ivy. And from sides of Ivy, there is going to be 2 players still surviving, but Blade on a charge was trying to make a move again, but has been certainly pinned down. This time again, QWERTY Esports, come on man, this time you really have a chance. One player is again knocked down, and they are hunting down the player, and as soon as their big team is getting eliminated, it will be an easy task for them to survive, but in doing so, it is going to be 2 players that are on their feet. That means Destroyer needs to get the revival done, and all the 2 players that are being knocked, they are sadly in the open.
They are in the open. NES right here now. These both have to try and get into the zone itself, is being pincered down from the players of ZARAR, and it is Vaz who is so on point. Right next to the player is going to be, of course, Ivy's player as well. When it comes down to the play style that has been showcased right here, Ivy have the final player remaining. North Esports have their final player remaining, but he is going to be caught in the open area, and as soon as he tries to get into the zone, he will most certainly be eliminated, because, of course, Ivy's final player was waiting right there. And now it is going to be ZARAR's Coronas making a wonderful turn of events for himself, because he is going to be converting kills, and kills is what this team of ZARAR have been able to absolutely dominate. And with 10 kills to this team on the front of Team QWERTY, that team has been caught. Team QWERTY tried to take on the players, but Team QWERTY has been caught, where they've got one final player remaining. That's going to be Voltrux, who is going to have to now give the revival to his teammates. But will he be able to allow? Yes, he will be allowed to do so. I8 getting eliminated, thus remaining are 3 teams. We've got ZARAR, we of course have Team QWERTY, as well as the final player remaining from the side of Ivy. That's going to be Fady, but none of them find themselves in the zone itself. But on the front, the team that is going to be finding it pretty useful, and of course the cover is going to be Team QWERTY once again. Team QWERTY is in the zone. They are going to be finding themselves in the comfort of the zone. As they do so, they will be having a control. They have the flank angle, but the other 2 teams, they are going to be out in the open. ZARAR, Cronus, right there trying to make a run for it in the open is certainly going to be able to do. Yes, he will. With just a sliver of an HP left, he will. Khan tried his level best in terms of the perfect spray that he was able to bring in, but Coronas was able to get in towards the back end of that compound, and thus he's going to be at the edge of the zone. But his teammate Vaz, he is caught outside. Faddy from the side of Flex or Ivy, well, he is going to be just trying to get those first aids working for himself.
One grenade was lobbed in from the sides of Khan, and that's what made it really important for them. And it seemed that it's just a matter of a second where QWERTY will be getting that chicken. It's just Faddy surviving from the sides of Ivy that is using all the first aid. The last one is still left, and it is just a matter of seconds where Team QWERTY will be finally getting one chicken. 5 plus 4 plus 3 is what the total number of chicken they have secured. But before going down, he is making sure that he will be getting a huge chunk of damage into its favor, and total of 12 to 13 kill is what they were able to secure. If they were able to get that last player down, certainly that will be one more into the favor. But no, the last player went down to zone as they were able to get that 12 kill chicken. 1876 damage is what they were able to secure, and now the contestation between them with the rest of the lobby. I mean, this is looking good. Freestyle before this match really had the chicken, and they got that step up. This time it was QWERTY, and now they are at second position with I8 still at the top. Nobody is just able to touch them, but the second and third tables are just toppling.
That is so true. That is so true. And in that, we do have a Team QWERTY bringing in the play that was required off of them. From yesterday till today, Team QWERTY have made it a huge improvement in terms of their playstyle. And that playstyle change is working for this team, where all the players are synergistically moving on together and creating those dominating runs. But in those dominating plays, we did again see I8 get themselves so many kills, so many points, that team is now probably going to be moving all the way into the 200 marker when it comes down to the overall standings. We will see. But for now, let's have a look at the most valuable player coming in from this game, where there were so many players who were looking really, really ferocious, but who will get that MVP.
Vaz, none other than Vaz from the sides of ZARAR Esports. 4 kill, 1175 damage, and this lad survived for a long time and really gave a lot of chance, a lot of opportunity for Cronus to make a move into that small little hut and himself finding into that blues, and that has resulted himself getting 367 healing done.
Well, what a play indeed for ZARAR as well, because ZARAR were looking pretty neat when it came down to their play, and certainly it is going to be Vaz who will find himself on the MVP slot. But as you move away from the first to the, so to say, second MVP in the top players list, we have Voltrix from the side of Team QWERTY with 5 kills, 665 damage, and then is I8. Reviews, Crypto chiming in along, bringing in some perfect starts for themselves in the 20 plus minutes of survival time that they had. And then finally on the 5th spot is going to be 420 boy from QWERTY Esports.
Indeed, I mean, QWERTY also really had a good run. Talk about 420 boy's performance. He was the one that was single-handedly trying to take the fight against all the teams that were present on the right-hand side of the dem. But Quraysh Esports were the one that really blew a big dent onto the face of them and also the players, and thus resulting the one player surviving, and he really played the part. He really justified why he was there. But moving on along, we have the match summary for us, where Voltrix gets the highest kills in his favor with modified Amish in the longest kill distance, was again with the highest damage, Amish again in that most limited use, and then we have QWERTY's Destroyer with the maximum assist. He went down before the last fight actually happened, but before going down he made sure that he will be giving a lot of assistance for his team, and that was a 4.
Absolutely, that certainly was, and that worked out in the team's favor as well. As we move away from this and as we move on along towards, of course, the next start, that is going to be, well, there is no start. That is going to be the perfect turn of events where match ranking is going to be showcased. And in that, we have Team QWERTY finally taking a chicken dinner for themselves. Amazing play being showcased from that. But right next to them is going to be I8 with 12 kills. With 12 kills, 8 placement points is what this team got. And in doing so, they have been able to get 20 points for themselves, and ZARAR also going to be finding themselves exactly at the same marker with 20 points, and 1 point shy is Ivy on the 4th spot. But alongside all of this, QWERTY Esports' performance has dropped quite a lot. They are getting the kills. They are certainly getting the kills, but in terms of the way I8 is stealing the opportunity, yeah, QWERTY is getting affected. I mean, their Clarity's position is getting affected, their gameplay is getting affected.
Indeed, they are getting in terms of the total placement points, and we'll get to see what sort of affection they have got in terms of the detrimental damage that they may have dealt with and inflicted to, in terms of what sort of downward leap that they have gotten, because again and again it is back-to-back good performance coming in from the sides of Team QWERTY and also from the sides of Grounders that were the contenders for the top 3 and top 4, but certainly not a good game again for 52x Rage Esports. We were just hoping at the start of this day 3 region finals, while obviously this Pakistan region, but certainly Rage Esports right off the go, they were looking certainly different in terms of gameplay in the semi-finals, but none of that gameplay has been showcased in this regional finals itself. We have played a lot of games, they have played 11 to be more precise, but in the last 11 games they have been again faltering down, and that has resulted in getting 0 itself in this match.
That is true. They're just not being allowed. They're being pincered down no matter what sort of a rotation they end up making. With that, it is time to move on through with the Oppo F19 Pro moments, where right off the bat in the first few minutes itself, we did see Ivy try and take on the fight, but then we moved on along towards the side of Team QWERTY, where it was Team QWERTY's player who were looking so very neat as they moved on from one fight to the next and absolutely pincered out and dominated their competition. But it was not as easy as said as done, because when it came down to the play itself, there were so many teams who were part of the fight. We were in the 12-minute marker and we still had 16 teams, and that is when things started moving on across onto a different board altogether, where teams did take on a lot of onslaught. This is where I8 absolutely pincered down the players of 52x Rage, and this is when the team of course I8 pushed on from the western front of the zone and then completely started just rushing across the entirety of the board to get those points for themselves.
Indeed, UNB were also looking good until unless they started getting pinned down by I8, but I8, tight being I8, they really found themselves in the position, in the precarious position. This was the grenade from the 420 Clarity's player that really dealt a huge amount of damage onto the players, and then it was an all easy affair for Team QWERTY because they were holding the zone. The dip was certainly working to the favor. The ground, the elevated ground, other teams have to come through that dip, and rather Voltrucks and the players from the sides of Team QWERTY had to just be on the same position, and then it was those last moments where Faddy, the last player surviving from the sides of IV, tried to bring down one player. He would get the knock, but certainly was finished off through that blues. And then we got to see the overall ranking, where UAGxTUF getting to the 201 markup. What a game it has been for them. What a run rather it has been. This is the silver jubilee for themselves, because what sort of performance? Talk about 1-1-1. They are finding themselves at the Nelson. The team that is standing on the second position, QWERTY, their points is 114, and the number of kill that UAGxTUF have secured in terms of kill, that is 111. So just the 3 points shying away from what Team QWERTY has secured as a whole, and that has been secured just by UAGxTUF in terms of kills.
Exactly. This team is just so very ferocious, like we were talking about earlier. This team is going to be moving on across. There's no two ways about it. When it comes down to the other teams, I'm not saying that they are not capable, but all I'm saying is that the stats that the team of I8 have been able to complete for themselves in the 11 games that they have played, they are looking too ferocious to be able to stop. And in the games that are remaining, in total we've got 5 game remainings for the entirety of the lobby, combined with of course the one game that is remaining from today and the 4 final games that will be played tomorrow. That will be the showcase of these teams that are the remaining 15 teams, and they will have to try and bring in that sort of a start for themselves. But it's of course not going to be easy when you've got the likes of I8 in the lobby. And as we move on along towards the total damage, we do have a lot of towers being created this time around from Team QWERTY, 1876 on towards Ivy with 1004, moving on towards ZARAR 1840. A lot of interesting fights that these teams did take place and did take part in, but in all of that, some of these teams, they were allowed to take on the fights, but no point were given to them because they were not able to convert the knocks into a kill. And that is where we do see 52x Rage and the others finding themselves. And with that, we've got 3 games done for the day. We've got 1 more game remaining, but before we can take care of that game, it is time to go on that short little break. We're going to be right back. Please stick around.
Here we go now.
Are you keeping it real? I'm calling shotgun, wanna see my baby run.
Well, like he said, we did have a quick break in that, and now it is time to jump into fourth game. That will be, of course, bringing on the memory of Erangel once again. So let's have a look at the schedule where the entire day's progress will be showcased. We started things off on Erangel, yes, where Portal Esports took the game by storm and were looking pretty ferocious as they did so. And as we moved on across to Miramar, it was Freestyle that took in the reins and took the game with the chicken dinner for themselves. But along with that, as the day has been progressed on, Team QWERTY finally getting themselves the true deserving gameplay that was required from them, giving them the chicken dinner. But now, for the finality of the day, that is going to be on Erangel, of course, we shall see which team will it be that will get the reins of this entire game and will be able to get and walk away with the chicken dinner.
Indeed, it is going to be the case. As now, I mean, QWERTY FS, it has been a good day itself for them. Some sort of comeback we have also seen for Portal Esports. So one more team they'll be getting to see might be making a comeback. But before that, we have to see what sort of performance, what sort of flight path is on its way. As we are getting to see, the flight path is on its way as the Big Bird has made a leap into there from the backhand side of Georgiapol downtown towards the area of Lipovka, completely northern dominated flight path. That means the team, those who love towards to go to the southern side of military base and Novorupnaya, is certainly going to be a daunting task for them. No two is doubt about that, because even if it trying to take the vehicle, it's still a very, very, very long fetch distance, and I guess nobody would love to go to other side. But then we get to see the northern city, the northern extremes. We talk about Zerki, shooting range, Severny, Stolberg, Kamishki might come into contestation that more often don't we get to see. But just imagine, for this one last game of day 3 regional finals, Pakistan region club open, the circle might be, if just tend to shift towards the southern military base, that will be a complete turmoil, that will complete shattering of hopes for most of the teams that were really looking to make a good game. And that can be one thing that I can really expect. I mean, a lot of adventures, a lot of excitement is what I really expect to happen. But then we have IB jumping towards the area of northern Georgia, and then we have Severny is where Team Star is jumping towards the same area. Snapolana is where Quraysh Esports is moving towards, and it seems that Lipovka is where ZARAR might find themselves into. We have to still wait for that.
We will. But with that, a very interesting circle being drawn right there, where it is going to be favoring the northwestern front of the entirety of this game. And perfect approach where we could very well see maybe even a Zarki shift as well, and that would be a unique zone that will be created. But that is only if that ends up happening. For now, we are looking at the teams who are going to be bringing in the fight, and it seems like Modified have found a fight of their own. And on the other front, it is going to be none other than Ivy against the players of, well, QWERTY Esports. And QWERTY Esports, they are going to be, well, pinched down. Not necessarily, because they do have all 4 players in the vicinity, whereas and as far as the minimap can clearly give us the information, it is looking like it is going to be only 2 players from the side of Ivy who have dropped into the vicinity of QWERTY Esports. So again, a lot of anticipation can be expected where QWERTY should be able to take this fight, but could and will, there is a lot of difference between all of that, because you can talk about the stats, you can talk about the history, but of course when it comes down to the play style itself, every single fight is different. Every single fight that you jump into is going to give you a different result, no matter how different or how similar you approach the fights in terms of those situations. As of now, it is going to be, of course, QWERTY Esports who are going to be getting that perfect flank angle set up for themselves and trying to get the information and trying to just wait for the opponent team to give a little bit of an audio cue to give them the idea as to where that team is. And right here we do see with the Victor, Pika from side of QWERTY Esports is just waiting, is absolutely waiting. But that same exact is the same case for IB Esports as well, where we do see Flex, a ball right here, who is, well, he has given away the information. He did try and take on a little bit of that fight, and as they did so, it is going to be the side of QWERTY Bablu who are now going to be on the run, who are now going to be trying to push on to take on the players of Ivy. When it comes down to the players, this is going to be KSF and Abul, that we do find themselves in the close proximity of this team, and this early fight has resulted in a bit of a slow start for the game, because when it comes to the playstyle itself, This is going to be in the urban area. So taking a fight in the urban area is not an easy feat because you have to be able to narrow down the compound that the team is in. And as of now, the team of Bablu do not know exactly. They know they have a basic idea of where the team of Ivy is, but they do not have the exact information. And that is something that can be tricky. But before any of that shifts, Clarity is for sure going to be making that rotation and trying to get themselves in towards a better area to get this fight covered for themselves. But will they be allowed? This is where we are going to have to be careful because Iqbal has found himself in a really good spot. Once again, a pretty interesting flank angle that he's been able to create. On the other front, talking about Clarity, seems like that team is going to be backing out. Seems like Clarity is going to be backing out of this fight where just the two players from UAGxTUF have just completely played mind games against the players of Clarity Esports, making them stop that push and have now resulted in Clarity Esports falling back from the entirety of this fight. An amazing mind game being showcased from the side of Ivy, where it is going to be Pika and of course 420 Boy who are going to be falling back to get into their vehicle and get away from that situation, and that will leave the players of course Ivy all by themselves. And wonderful start that has been showcased from there. But as we move on outside the zone, we shall move towards Milta Power, where we do see ZARAR Esports have gotten themselves acclimated and segregated in a pretty interesting drop. But right next to their vicinity is going to be Portal Esports. And if ZARAR ends up deciding to make that rotation exactly through Milta, then there could be a contestation against the players of Portal Esports. As of now, all the teams are going to be trying to get themselves acclimated into a decent compound and get the loot segregated for themselves. But seems like Modified's Bullet is not off to a good start because it is going to be Thor with his Karel and UMP going to be pushing on along to get that kill confirmed. A revival has been given for now from the side of Mod Bullet, but Bullet is not looking good when it comes down to his health. And again, when it comes down to his teammate Zod, who was able to give him that revival, will also not be allowed to stand up for long because Thor and his teammates have pushed on with such massive force that it is going to be raining bullets and lead and of course all of these nade parades that are being brought on alongside the players of Modified. That Amish and Hamid are the only players. Correction, Hamid has been brought down. It is only Amish, and Amish is trying his level best to bring in the kills for himself. He has not been able to confirm a kill, but before he is able to do so, UAGxTUF will be confirming the kills. They will be getting the 4 perfect points for themselves in the first 6 minutes of the game itself. An amazing start to this team, but sad start for the side of Modified. They tried, they certainly tried, they held their ground right, but they were just not allowed, and they were pincered down in terms of the way that the team of TUF UAG pushed on to create that amazing skill and kill, and in that they have gotten the compound as well. Now as we move on along towards other teams that we can anticipate taking on a fight, we do see a lot of teams actually. So if you look on towards the southern part of the map itself, in the zone itself, we do have FS Malik and Tyrant who have created a 2-man split. The team rather has created a 2-man split, and that's not it. If we look on towards the team of Star as well, that team has also created a 2-man split. An interesting showcase of 2-man split sort of situations from the side of these teams, where so many of these teams, UNB also creating a the team into a split sort of a situation where the players are going to be kind of in the vicinity of Team Sky, but for the moment that is certainly not going to be working in or rather against their position, because there is no fight that is being seen for now. On the other front, Quraysh Esports, this team had a pretty good run in the previous game. This team were absolutely in control in the way that they were able to bring in those kills. Really phenomenal play is being showcased from the side of Quraysh Esports. Same can be said for the side of Team QWERTY as well, wherein Destroyer, Voltrix, Khan, Wolverine, all of these lads had just the perfect approach in the previous game that resulted in them then getting a chicken dinner. But it seems like Freestyle has a different thing in mind, where they are now trying to take on the players of I8, and it is TUF chiming in along as well, as I8's rotation has been caught and I8's Uzum has been brought down to his knees. This is looking very interesting, where I8 not only have lost one of the players, they are a 3-man squad whose rotation has been caught and the information has been given away to their opponents. Does it seem like the final game of the day, I8 will not be able to make it? I8 will not be allowed to participate in the kill department. The hungry kill department that we see I8 to be a part of seems like will Well, I mean, it's too early to actually even predict because they've just lost that one player. They still do have 3 players in the game, and they are looking pretty neat when it comes down to that rotation that they've been able to make. All the other teams from that exact same area are going to be moving away from them. And talk about the zone. The zone moves on up and will be finding, of course, a lot of these teams to have them forced towards the northern side. As they do so, it is going to be the side of Quraysh Esports who's going to be making that late rotation. It is going to be the side of ZARAR making a late rotation as well. An amazing turn of events where the teams are going to be trying their level best to get this final game converted into their own moment. But it's easier said than done because once again, when it comes down to the playstyle that has been created from so many of these teams with the flank angles as well as the team splits that have been showcased from the FS side as well as from the Star side, now those 2-man splits are going to be combining together, and when the efforts have been combined, the team is going to be that much more stronger. And it seems like there is going to be a fight that is taken on, and it is going to be none other than the Grounders who are looking to take on a fight against the players of, it seemed like TUF was the one who were in charge, but it is not going to give the Grounders any control for now. They have the compound, and that is all that they have. They've given away the information as they take on the shots, but that also will not be retaliated because, well, there is no other team to contest the area from the Grounders.
Indeed, and slowly and steadily as we get towards the circle, it seems that now UAGxTUF are just trying to pin down the players. It was the Grounders that were finding themselves in the same situation, but now it is going to be Virus that is really looking tough at this moment, as now complete control is what UAGxTUF are holding of that Mount Everest that we get to see from the southern side of Georgia Pool, and a lot of fight that has actually erupted, and we have seen some historic fight that has been written in that history book itself. Can history repeat itself if the circle tends to go and restrict to the same area? It will be UAGxTUF that will be getting the better half of it, but before that happens, it is going to be Quraysh Esports now aligning onto the players of Star, and Team Star's Fury goes down before taking any pixel of damage, and he falters down. It was a soft elimination for me, and now it is going to be an easy task, rather not so easy, but still the distance is far-fetched. But it seems that the flank angle is certainly working in the favor of Quraysh Esports, as now Adi is trying to bring down the rest of the players. Now Zyro got along with Anonymous, and Zingor is still surviving, and it seems that Fury is still in the hope of getting the revival done. But Quraysh Esports, they rather need to make sure that if they have secured that knock, that kill needs to be converted, and that one important point is what that will be helping them. So most smokes are being used, and this is one good push that can result in the favor of money while trying to converge through that smoke. It seems that he has got a lot of shots, but also Zyro G has also got a lot of shots, but now it's the time where Zingor has been finished completely, and this is leaving just a one player alive from the sides of Star. With Zyro going down, Anonymous, he will also succumb to pressure before making any move. He shows the back, and Dubai makes a big body blow onto him, thus resulting Team Star getting eliminated at 15th spot. And we are just not done with that. We just got eliminated. See, one team getting eliminated, and now the fight is erupting into the area of ruins, where UNB is up against one team that severely needs all these points in order to be contesting the top 3, top 2.
Well, talk about FS. This is a team that was absolutely trying to pencil down the rotation a few minutes ago against the players of I8. And now they themselves have been caught. They have been caught because it is UNB who know exactly where the side of Freestyles players are, and in doing so, UNB are just waiting patiently for FS to make one small little mistake, and as they do, it will be punished severely because it will be a kill confirmed for UNB's side in terms of the way that this team is making this push. But wait, they're not making a push. They have decided to move away. They have decided to absolutely move away and will not be working towards even a flank angle for themselves. An interesting conversation, which I would love to know what exactly was the ideal decision for this. But of course, maybe it was not to waste any stalemate situations, because that is what both these teams found themselves in. But well, it's GG for FS. There's no two ways about it. They have been, so to say, given a second chance to move on across and get that perfect placement of the zone for themselves. Because again, I mean, you talk about the zone, both these teams were in the zone itself. I'm still questioning as to what exactly was the ideal play when they decided that they are going to be moving away from that place. UNB, All right, and now for the side of freestyle as well, because they are going to be getting into the water to get onto the main island itself. All right, so they're going to be losing those vehicles to get into a better position in the circle itself. Now, talking about fights, talking about kills, we do have fights taken on this game, and it is going to be Quraysh Esports taking on the players of Grounders, and the Grounders have been knocked. The Grounders player who was caught has really no opportunity to be able to give any sort of damage to the players of Quraysh, because Quraysh are looking very dominating, because they've got 5 kills already with all 4 players still surviving, and now they're going to be making a charge against, or not making a charge, but defending their compound against the charging team of Esports. And it is going to be Quraysh who are looking pretty neat and are going to be absolutely in control, because another knock has been confirmed for themselves. But there will be a trade. There will be a trade where Bilal has been brought, but in doing so, before Bilal was brought down, it is going to be Esports who have 2 of their players already knocked. So an amazing play that has been created from the side of Quraysh, and it is going to be Adi from the side of Quraysh and his teammate who are going to be pushing to convert those 2 knocks into 2 points. And this is the play style that we were missing from the side of Quraysh Esports, and this is what they are bringing to the table and showcasing to the entirety of the lobby, that do not mess with us. We are going to be dominating you, and we are going to be absolutely on point to pincer you down, and that is what this team almost did to Esports.
Quraysh Esports, 1 knock from the sides, and it seems that Zameen is the one that has brought the knock onto the players of Quraysh Esports. But now it's Darkway is going down, and all of a sudden North Esports in a different affair. UAG are third partying them, and now realizing the situation, Quraysh Esports are pretty much furious, anxious that it was our skills, not yours, and now they are just trying to retaliate onto them. And this has to be one good fight, one good game that our North Esports really need to take. But in doing so, it is going to be Daku that has been completely fallen out himself away, with Adi going down, a good spray coming in from the Ghost Star, but no. From a different direction, it is going to be Quraysh that is completely reigning supreming, and not only that, they were charging upon to them. 7 kills is what Quraysh Esports are standing, and slowly and steadily it seems that now UAG are approaching towards them, and without wasting any sort of time, Adi needs the revival, and as soon as the revival will be in the case, it seems that the player has to be standing in order to take down the fight, because UAGTUF are approaching towards them. Edgar is finding himself into that smoke cloud. Avenger is pretty much close to where Quraysh Esports were a moment ago while they were trying to take the fight against North Esports, and without any time, it seemed that UAG have sensed that this is an opportunity to actually rack up a huge amount of kills.
Well, what a play this is turning out to be, where indeed we've got 3 teams already knocked and eliminated. We've got 17 minutes, almost 16 and a half, 17 minutes into the game, and now it is going to be TUF, a team that have the highest kill for themselves for now in this game, where they are looking at 7 kills for them. But I think I spoke too soon, because Quraysh have also been able to confirm 7 kills for themselves. And now this is going to be TUF against the players of Quraysh, and it is going to be Mani who is going to be bringing down Edgar right off the bat, getting into the fight itself. And Quraysh Esports are so dominating and fierce in these fights. They are just absolutely pincering down their opponents, but without having one little sliver of an HP is what Avenger was left with, and in doing so, it is going to be a fallback approach that Quraysh is going to have to make. And right now, this team of TUF is going to eliminate the competition one by one. They have absolutely pincered down the players of Quraysh, and that is all that Quraysh will be allowed to do. With that, they've got 7 kills. So amazing play that was showcased from Quraysh, but TUF get the better half of the fight, and they will be moving on across. In the kill feed, we can see Clarity is also chiming along and taking on the players of the Grounders.
Also, UNB is making a big dent onto the players of 52x Rage, as now Faster is going down Ivy along with UNB, making a big body blow onto the players of 52 Rage. But it seems that Akbul is also retaliating in fashion. 10 kill is what with which TUF is standing at this moment, and in doing so, it was an elimination as soon as Mani fell down from the sides of Quraysh Esports. No other player from their side just stood, as now Bilal also fell down. It was a sad demise for them, because they really took important amount of kills. This was 7 or 8 before going down, and those fights were really looking mesmeric. But moving on along, we have the shooting range circle, but the circle this time hasn't gone towards the main area of shooting range. Rather, it has gone towards the southern side, where we get to see the wrecked planes. And in this situation, it is going to be Ivy that might face the brunt of the situation. But 52 Rage need to make sure, because there are 2 teams, one on the the front and one on the back. It will be UNB that might press towards them, and it is going to be Ivy. Ivy in the last 2 games itself has been looking pretty much aggressive in terms of the gameplay strategies. They have not been passive, and it seems that they must be looking up to take the fight with the 4-man advantage. At any point, at any moment, they will be one team to good to go. But 52 Rage are also getting a lot of shots onto them, and before that happens, it was Clarity's a good sublime form continues as now Grounders leaves the lobby.
Well, we are in the 4th zone. We are at the 18+ minute marker, and this is the moment, most of the times, most of the games, this is the moment that I8 starts chiming in. This is a moment where I8 start dominating. But this time around, it seems like they are not going to be allowed to do so, because it is Clarity who has pincered them down in that sniper tower. And again, when it comes down to the power that, of course, that team has, that is going to be I8. That has also been faltered because they have a 3-man squad compared to a 4-man army that they try and most of the times rush with. On the other front, talking about the zone is going to be favoring the side of Team Sky, where Team Sky do find themselves in the center of the zone with a 2-man split approach that they've been able to create, and of course onto the western front of the zone. Once again, Team QWERTY are going to be maintaining that edge.
They are holding the edge, which has got to see with the game of Erangel, Miramar, Sanhok. They are the one that still play to the edge of circle. This is one good approach if you're not getting a lot of points, and if you're not sure entirely of your gun gameplay, you rather try to be away from all these fights, but then you have to take all these fights, and in doing so, it is going to be 1-1 affair. Shazam will fall down. The onslaught continues from the sides of Ivy as Dr. Fate seals the fate for 52 Rage, and also for the sides of UNB with just 2 players surviving for the sides of 52 Rage. It is going to be a tough task for them to make a move, and it seems that UNB, will he be able to just make a move into the circle? All will be, he will be taken care of from the zone, as now the 5th zone is making a move and 52 Rage is also going in, and Dr. Fate goes down. The onslaught continues, and the fight also continues from the northeastern side onto Nadir. Now Clarity is making a move, as now they have made a big body blow and a big dent onto the players of I8 as Blade falls down.
Exactly, I mean, Clarity had pincered down the exact position of the team of I8, and in that small little watchtower, that sniper tower that we did see the players of I8, there was no way that Clarity was going to allow them to leave. And that is the only way that was going to be done, and that was to eliminate the team itself. With that, I8 getting eliminated, but no problem at all. They've been able to create such a massive lead that it is going to take some time for the other teams in the lobby, but this does give Clarity Esports a chance to try and dominate in these fights. We've got 9 teams remaining. Team Sky have been able to get all 4 players into the zone itself, but now, of course, when you talk about the 2-man split that this team has been able to create, will that be a good approach, or will they be caught off guard? It seems like getting caught off guard is more likely, because there are so many teams in the vicinity, and being out of the open, Ash, is probably not the way you want to be, because you do have the cover, but you are still in the open, and in doing so, it is going to be, well, his position being revealed a little bit. But of course, we shall see what sort of a play can be expected. On the other front, it is going to be FS Malik pincering down the players of Clarity. There is a lot of ruckus being created right here onto the minimap. We can see from the side of Team Sky, Ash, he is trying to just keep ZARAR at bay, but on towards his left flank, we can see that UNB as well as well, UNB and Flex is what I was just about to say, but UNB and Ivy have a fight of their own that has resulted in just a 1-man army fight sort of being left and created, and this has resulted in UNB getting eliminated, and it is going to be the better part of course, Ivy that will be more able to move on along. But will they be allowed to do so, because they've got Team Sky to deal with every single play that you make? It is Team Sky that is making those perfect space, and of course the zone also is once again favoring them as the zone shifts. It is Team Sky who find themselves in the center, but on the other front, it is going to be, well, again, Team Sky.
Indeed, I mean, Team Sky is really trying to assert the dominance in every 360 direction, but still not able to get at least one defeat. The knock is there, certainly, but the revival will also be the one thing that the opponent teams will be doing for sure. But as soon as the circle will churn in, and the circle shifted, resulting 2 players of Team Sky finding themselves in the central line of the circles, and now again, as you perfectly mentioned, Thor goes down, the revival will be again the case. That means Team Sky are getting all the damages, but they're just not asserting, they're just not over-aggressive. But as soon as the ZARAR Esports were on a move, it seemed that now is the time where the 3 kills will be certainly helping them and thus eliminating Freestyles in just a blink of an eye. Kian just survives on sniffer of an HP. ZARAR Esports leaves the lobby completely. UAG also on the receiving end, and it is going to be a tough task for Clarity to make a move because just the 3 players alive, it seems that it can be a game end for them. But before that happens, it is going to be Pika that will be bringing that instant knock. 2 players knocked down, tough. 420 boy goes down and the player needs a revival for sure, but it is going to be UAGxTUF. Edgar is looking pretty strong at this moment, seeing that they will be making a push. They won't be giving any sort of second chance for Clarity to survive in this situation. Edgar pretty much close to where the player Pika is knocked down, and it seems that Dani is in that crosshair. Dani is in that ground position. Better be get that location reveal, else he will strike down. It seems that he's still not able to spot him down as Edgar, watch your back. It's just the left hand side where Dani is still surviving. Smokes are being used, and now it seems that Edgar is getting a lot of information as now he is also being found himself in the open position. But in all this, it is going to be NFP Sky with all the 4 players alive that are coming in from the northern side. And now Clarity Esports, Bablu Dani, the way he's hiding himself into this bush, it seems that he's trying to become the plant, and the plant can literally eat up all these things. But before that, it seems that Kian has spotted down the player, but still the one player, the last player standing from Clarity Esports, his location is still pretty much unknown to any other team in this lobby.
Exactly, and he's just going to be working towards that placement point for himself, and that's going to be absolutely favoring him. On the other front, it is going to be NFP Sky teammate, that is going to be Helsi, who has been knocked on, and it is going to be NFP who is absolutely trying to bring in a perfect gameplay for themselves. But talk about the kills department. The kills department is going to be favoring none other than TUF, because they've been able to accumulate 16 kills for themselves. 16 kills for themselves. And talking about the zone as well, the zone certainly is going to be very much in comfort of the side of TUF as well. And this is going to be Sky as well as well, TUF. It seems like the stories are going to be changing, because TUF is the team that is just a 2-man army, yes, but they are bringing in a lot of kills. Thor with 8 kills all by himself is looking absolutely perfect to be able to take this onslaught to the face of Team Sky, because he just was the man who was able to bring down one player from the side of Team Sky, and of course in doing so it has given him a bit of a X factor. But we do have still Team QWERTY being a part of this. We still have Portal Esports part of this game. We can expect Portal Esports to take a chicken dinner. We can very well expect a second chicken dinner coming in for them, or maybe even for Team QWERTY. But TUF, the way they were playing, they have a lot of points for themselves, and right now it is Portal Esports who are trying to dominate, and Portal Esports will be the one who will bring Helsi and Khater down to their knees. And Team Sky has been eliminated. We've got 4 teams remaining. TUF 2 players right there as the 2 players try to make a push. Virus has been brought down to his knees. Thor is the 1 man remaining. When it comes to Portal Esports as well, as they were trying to take on the fight, it is going to be Team QWERTY chiming in along to take on the onslaught. 3 teams remaining, and as we were talking about Portal Esports, or for that matter TUF, or for that matter Team Sky, none of them are going to be part of it. It is Team QWERTY who are looking absolutely perfect to be able to take this game.
Dani is still surviving. Dani is the 1-man army still at this moment present. With Wolverine, Vortrix and Khan in this proximity, it is going to be a tough challenge for anyone to survive. But will they be able to spot down the player from the sides of Clarity Esports? Dani, yes, he has been spotted down this time. And Voltrox again with that MG3 light machine gun. It seems that every time Voltrox jumps into the game of feed with Erangel, Sanhok or Miramar, he just looks at that MG3 with that lot of love and affection that has brought in. And why not? He has been making it all happen for himself. Last game itself, it was a chicken for QWERTY, and this game itself, it is going to be 3v2 affairs where 3 players from the sides of QWERTY are going towards this last zone, with Baby surviving, Mumtu surviving. Last year angle itself, it was Portal Esports getting the chicken. They are still just miles apart, and it seems that the 3 players won't be an easy task to deal, as now QWERTY are upon the charge with Wolverine not giving any sort of sound cues. It is only Khan again that is leading the charge. Wolverine is just waiting patiently. He is not in the zone. It's exactly 21 meter he needs to travel, and as soon as he gets that 21 meter covered, he will be pretty much close to where Mumtu is still present, with Baby still standing. Mumtu has his crosshair set upon him. See that before Mumtu strikes, it will be Wolverine that will strike with a lot of blow, and this will eventually pump them with a lot of confidence. And there we go. It seems that it is going to be a chicken as soon as Baby will spot it down. Before that, Mumtu will be finished, and the final nail in the coffin was certainly from the sides of Voltrux with that MG3 coming in. Light machine guns, a light-hearted chicken dinner. What a game for QWERTY. Back-to-back chicken is what they finish the things off in style. 10 kills, 18, 92 damage, 25 total points, and they are on the second half again.
What a play. I mean, this is a fight to be on the second. The fight to be on the second is certainly on the roll. And when it comes to that second position in the overall ranking, it is Team QWERTY that find themselves over there. With that, let's move on to the MVP, the most valuable player coming in from this game. That is going to be none other than Thor. 8 kills, 2 assists. Amazing plays being showcased. Amazing stats being showcased with 1,161 damage. But that's just one MVP. We, of course, do have still four more players to talk about. That's going to be from the list of top players, and in those top 5 players we of course have QWERTY chiming in with that perfect play from Voltrox, along with of course Khan right there on that 5th spot, but in between the spots are being shared with NFP as well.
And moving on along, we have the match summary where we get to a lot of teams and players from the sides of UAG. We have Thor in the highest kill, we have Thor against in the form of highest damage 1161 with Voltrox again with the maximum assist of 3. So it was all in all a good game for a team, and obviously for the sides of UAG itself with Clarity Bablu finding himself in the longest distance kill 282 meter. It was again a very good game. And moving on along, we have the match ranking for this game itself with 10 kills, 15 total points. QWERTY right there reigning supreme, but not long, not far away was where UAGxTUF 16 kill is what the team was able to secure, and they were just completely bamboozling the lobby.
They most certainly were. There's no two ways about it. The way that team played, it was absolutely perfection because the kill department was working in their favor. On the other front, it was I8 who were not allowed to just showcase their reign this time around, and that is of course, well, let's actually have a look at it. Let's bring up the Oppo F19 Pro moments, and I'm hoping that that one first knock and that blood that was showcased from the side of I8 as they made that rotation will be brought on. But with that, let's have a look at this fight right here where we do have Modified trying to take on the players of TUF, but little did they know that TUF will be reigning in supreme, and of course not only that, by the end of the game this team will be walking away with so many kills.
And then we got to see the Quraysh Esports charging one of the players of Anonymous Dubai. I mean, this lad has been the man in form. Talk about Dubai, talk about Mani. Mani eventually at this point did 1v2, and then when Mani fell down, it was an impossible task. It seemed like an impossible task for Quraysh Esports as Adi fell down, Bilal fell down, and it was their demise.
It certainly was, and as the journey progressed on along, upwards of 20-minute marker is where we had 10 minutes remaining, or rather sorry, 10 teams remaining, and in that TUF had already accumulated so many kills for themselves. Team Sky had such a decent positioning for themselves, but of course that was not to be the case because TUF as well as Team Sky were eliminated, and the final fight resulted in these 3 teams.
Indeed, I mean, these 3 teams were reigning supreme, and then Team QWERTY, Kwan with that impressive knock. Bomtur before he spots down Wolverine was taken care of, and then Baby was taken care of with the final nail in the coffin, and that resulted themselves getting a lot of kill, a lot of damage. And talking about damage, we have TUF 2296, and today itself we have seen a lot of these big skyscrapers. Talk about Team QWERTY getting 1892 with just 10 kills. Talk about TUF getting 2296 damage with just 16 kills. It was somewhere down the line. Bablu also, I mean, they really had a good game. Talk about Portal Esports. I mean, Portal Esports, whenever they played the game of Erangel, they were looking too good.
Yep, they were. That is true that they were. They certainly were. I was just looking at I8. I mean, throughout the entirety of the day, when it comes to the total damage, we've seen at least a little bit of damage being brought on, but I8 this time around, 0 kills of course, but 0 damage as well. An interesting stat wherein when they participate, they absolutely obliterate, and when they do not participate, they won't get nothing. No damage, no kill, no point, absolutely nothing. But still will be reigning supreme with, of course, the 202 points that they find themselves at, and following them is going to be Team QWERTY with 139 points.
Started the day off, I mean, I8 Esports still on the top with QWERTY following them next 139. A challenge that is still on with the 2-3 with that contestation on. But I would love to see the second half of the chart, what sort of performance, what sort of teams are there, as we got to see Modified there at that 9th position with 79 total points. A lot of kills has also been racked up with the IV getting 36 and Quraysh getting 38.
Wow, wow, wow. Sort of a play is what this has turned out to be. Let's move on and have a look at the kill leaders, because these teams have been good, yes, but when it comes down to the play, these teams on the second page of the leaderboard only have 4 games remaining, and when you've got to reach 200 points, yeah, that's going to be a huge undertaking. That's not going to be an easy task. And in that, as we move on along, it is going to be none other than Crypto from the side of I8 Esports with 39 kills, 6,382 damage in the 21.5 minute of survival time. So an amazing turn of events for this dude where this team itself is reigning in supreme, and his teammate is right there on the third spot as well. Reviews with 29 kills, 5,355 damage.
Top 5 3 players from the sides of IA. Talk about Crypto, Reviews and Blade. I mean, completely domination is what we have seen, and that has resulted in just 12 matches. They have got 202 points.
Absolutely, and again, like I said, there are 4 more games remaining on tomorrow, being the final day of the region finals. But for today, we do reach the end of our show. A huge thanks to Oppo F19 Pro for making it all happen, as well as you guys for tuning in and supporting these teams. We will be back again tomorrow with the finals, but until then, take care. Bye-bye.